Hello, everybody. Welcome to Armchair Experts, edition of Experts on Expert. I don't know if I phrased that correctly, but here we are. Today is a friend of mine, Dr. Drew Pinsky is on. He and I have, we met doing Loveline some 15 years ago or something. And then over the years, our paths have crossed many times. He and I are both spokespersons or spokespeople for the Prostate Cancer Foundation, and we're always trying to raise awareness for that and urge people to get screened, get their PSA level checked. He's a fascinating man. He's brilliant. I love chatting with him, and I think you'll love it too. Please enjoy our expert today, Dr. Drew.
We get support from Quince.
Have you been wearing the Quince linen shirts?
Yeah, I've been wearing them a suspicious amount. Yeah, European linen ones, they're $34, which is genuinely insane for how nice they are.
It doesn't even make sense.
Well, here's the deal. They work directly with the factories, cut out all the middlemen, so you're paying for the actual quality and not some brand's marketing budget. Everything's 50 to 80% less than comparable stuff. I love it because it's all very classic and traditional, and I know I'm going to be able to keep it for a very long time, and the quality's off the charts.
That's true. The style is very consistent. Whatever you get there, you walk down the street, you're going to look good. They have these lightweight cotton sweaters, which I love for when it cools down at night. It's nice drape around your shoulders in the summer and then throw it on when it gets a little cool. And it's not just clothes. They do home stuff, ding, 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 travel stuff, everyday essentials. It's all the same model, quality without the markup.
Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/Dax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Dax for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Dax. This episode is supported by Helix. All right, let's talk about something we both really care deeply about, sleep.
It's the most important thing. I've had my Helix mattress for years now, and I genuinely think it's one of the best investments you can make for your home. Mine still feels just like it did when I first got it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not one of those mattresses that caves in after 6 months. These things are built to last. And, I'm a side sleeper. I ordered a side sleeper, and I get hot, so I have cooling. And I can't tell you how much more comfortable it is to be in there not sweating and tossing and turning.
Cooling is really important. I've read that you're supposed to sleep a little bit cold. So I also have cooling. And they have over 20 models, so it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. You just go take their quiz and they match you to what actually works for your body.
Plus, they've got cooling upgrades, which heading into summer, non-negotiable.
Truly.
Go to helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. That's helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/armchair.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Dr. Drew Pinsky, welcome.
Hey, man.
This is ultimately, I hope you'll receive this as a compliment. I did very little research on you, which is not like me because every time you and I run into each other, there's never enough time for us to talk, right?
Absolutely.
It's always rapid fire.
Well, of course, we only get commercial breaks usually.
Yes.
But what I like is that what you don't know is that both of us will do these things just so we can spend those commercial breaks together.
Yeah, that's nice.
Drew and I are both, advocates for prostate cancer awareness, and Drew works a lot with the Prostate Cancer Foundation, and I too was trying to help with that. So last year we did this media tour, right, where you show up at a place at 5 a.m. and you literally talk to 110 news stations around the country, and it's like every 3 minutes.
Michelle and Will in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now it's Susie and Jam in Atlanta. They'll be on in 3, 2, 1.
And then so we're both just regurgitating all this information about prostate cancer and awareness and what you should do. And then anytime we have 12 seconds between them patching us through, I'm like, well, did you hear that episode of such and such podcast?
Yes. Because I was an iTunes U, like consuming. I consumed everything there was from Yale and Berkeley and a couple of schools. iTunes U used to be this great repository of world-class lectures. Oh. Well, they started pulling back. There were some liability issues or some this, some that. I think UC still does it, but I mean, I was consuming this stuff till there was nothing left. And you advocated some podcasts to me. And I was like,
Right.
wait, no, I can't get, I want lectures. I want this. And you went, no. Remember this conversation? You're
Oh,
like,
yeah,
What about Sam
100%.
Harris? What about this? So I started getting into podcasts. Now I'm deep into podcasting.
Yeah. When you get that brain candy,
I always thought podcasting wouldn't be, I needed like somebody to have thought out the material and present it to me the way a lecturer would. You know what I mean? I thought I
Right.
won't get enough from a podcast.
Right.
I was wrong. Flat out, I was wrong.
Oh, good.
So
And you're smarter than me and have much more
please.
schooling, but
more school,
I hope,
maybe, but smarter, no.
I hope you have the same experience I have when Sam Harris is talking to, say, an astrophysicist or
Yeah.
somebody like that.
Yeah.
Where I am just like I'm struggling to keep
You have
up.
to concentrate. Yeah.
It's my favorite feeling.
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
got it. Okay. And in any moment, if I lose like a sentence, I'm going to be gone.
No harm re-listening. Just peel it back. Go do it again.
Yeah. Like
Yep.
the episode that I love so much was the Jonathan Haidt episode.
Probably listen to it. You have to jar my memory a little bit.
These two had a long-standing war in academic journals and online, I assume. And then finally they sat down and talked. And what you quickly found out is they do agree on 99.9% of everything, right?
Of course.
And where they really diverged was Jonathan believes that being religious is a part of our evolution, right?
That it is a byproduct of evolution.
Right. That we are actually, we evolved to have religion, right?
Well, yes.
We must.
needed
we
it.
must have.
Yeah, as an anthropology major,
Yeah.
we never came across a group that didn't have a creation myth and somebody.
And it benefited us as a society at some point.
Yes.
From some evolutionary perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm so excited to talk to you. I have so many different things I want to say. But Sam, was a neuroscientist. That was my original training. That's how So I went off in neuroscience, then back to medical school, and then into internal medicine, then ended up back in neuroscience vis-a-vis
Addiction.
Addiction, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's sort of why that intrigued me so much, because the brain has always been my thing. So I am mind blend with Sam as it pertains to most of his science and most of the things he talks about.
Yes.
That stuff I know. He is a true neuroscientist. He has a PhD in neuroscience. I don't have that, but it's the domain, that field I know deeply. And
Yeah, I think it's one of the more exciting places that's
Oh, my
happening in medicine, right? Because
well, it'll always will be, because it's so complex.
it,
There's
yes,
infinite questions to be answered.
but we've been studying psychology, I guess, as a real discipline for 100 years now. When was Freud, the 30s?
since it split off from philosophy. I mean, Aristotle had a psychology, right? I mean,
Sure,
philosophers all
sure.
had psychologies. It just was considered natural philosophy at that point.
Right. But so much of this stuff you were never able to actually view, right?
The functions.
The functions of the
That's right.
brain.
We still
And that-
really, it's pretty primitive what we're using. Even though
Right.
people declare as though it were the case with great sort of certainty. This is very vague and very
In
much
its infancy.
interpreted. Yeah, it's in its infancy.
Yeah, but it all is very, very exciting, right?
Yes.
Because we some of the examples I'll give is even in a Malcolm Gladwell book, they talk about pitchers, right? They would talk to these great batters in Major League Baseball. And they'd ask these batters, how is it you know when to swing at a pitch, right? And they all had an answer. Oh, I can tell when the guy cocks his arm this way that he's going to throw a fastball. Whatever it was, they all had some reason after the fact of why they were able to be great batters. And then as they broke all this down, they realized that from the time the ball leaves the guy's hand till he's making the decision to swing, it would be physically impossible for the brain to do the things they're saying that
That's
their
right.
brain is
It's
doing.
their perception of what they're doing.
Yes, and that it actually, the area of their brain as they monitored these guys while they took batting practice, what was that their emotional center of their brain is what was telling them to swing or not swing.
Yeah, so it's instinct.
Yes,
It's instinctive. Yeah.
and that there might
They're-
actually be some weird communication between the pitcher and the batter
Yes.
on an emotional level.
Well, but let me make it more complex. I would argue that what's embedded in our right brain, which is those visceral sort of emotional centers, holistic centers, is a shit ton of information coming out of our body. The autonomic nervous system, we don't even know. To me, that's the final frontier. How do these gigantic webs of parasympathetic mats that sit over our chest and our stomach, how does that process information? And somewhere around 80, I think 80% of the vagus input, which is what all this feeds into, this one trunk, is afferent. It goes to the brain. And we were always trained that it was just the nerve that slowed the heart down and maybe made the stomach secrete some acids. Turns out most of it is coming back from the body. And so all this information is going in and then it's embedded in the right side of the brain, and that and there's body to body communication that we just don't understand yet.
Right, which I believe is happening. How else do you flirt with a woman if not some of that?
Go right there.
Yeah, because it's olfactory, right? There's like biochemical things your body's picking up.
All kinds of crazy stuff. But I, having been in, I did years and years of therapy. I was in therapy, and I'm
as a patient,
right? And I was aware that there was some exchange, some co-created something that was way beyond my ability to consciously process and understand.
Right.
And it's where healing occurred. It's rhythm. I think it's where spirituality and a lot of things are. It's this thing between people that can be achieved if you're really
Which in
open
physics
to
is
it.
kind of string theory. So there's that applies also to physics.
Interesting. So when you take, I try not to take it all the way down physics because there's so many intervening processes of sort of a physiological wiring nature that, yes, ultimately, of course, if we knew everything and could explain everything through quantum or theory, we'd be able to drive it back up. But I don't think we can do that. I think things change actually qualitatively at certain levels of
expansion or growth.
Yeah.
Now, but you were just mentioning, doesn't the I remember someone telling me that your stomach has as many neurons or as many something. The circuitry in there is as complex as your brain.
That's right. And they're usually talking about the gut generally when they say that, or they say that there's all the serotonin in your gut. So, yeah, there is, but it has to be able to integrate that and process it in some way. And we have no idea what that is. Yeah. So when you say I have a gut instinct, that's what you have. But exactly what's coming to you and how you develop, how your gut knew something, which it did.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Very exciting. Yeah.
And I want to go back to, we were talking about evolutionary biology of religion.
Yeah.
There's one really strange thing about the human being is that we repeat trauma, particularly from childhood. We repeat it. We repeat it through the mechanism of attraction. In other words, if I have an abusive alcoholic father, I'm magically attracted to abusive alcohol. If I get attracted to that kind of person.
Yes.
And that's repeating the trauma. Now the psychologists will go, well, it's just they're trying to solve the past and they're trying.
That's not my theory, by the way.
My theory is we have a wiring that makes us repeat the past because there's no rational reason we do it. It's irrational, except, let me propose my theory before you propose yours. Because it has an anthropological basis to it. I think I sketched it for you during a commercial break when we were sitting there.
In an 8 second.
And it goes to the religious thing. We could expand it out from there, which is that explicit memory only serves us so far. And certainly as a population, we really cannot have much of explicit memory. Even when we write it down, we distort it and mythologize it and alter it unless we ritualize it and repeat the behavior every year. So on Passover, to never forget this horrible night, we'd eat and do the same thing every freaking year. And it never changes.
Right.
And it becomes an externalized repetitive trauma, but because it's externalized, it's a memory that's fixed that remains an anthropological fixture that informs the population from an evolutionary perspective.
Yes.
Gives us some advantage survival-wise.
There's a ton of literature. I think this overlaps with that, which is it's our storytelling nature, right? And because the great advantage that human has, right, is that we have culture and that's our software. And that's what's allowed us to expand and evolve so quickly and dynamically is that we download new software to our children, right? They're only born with a handful of instincts that would serve them. And then we got to load everything else in them.
Yes.
So this storytelling was absolutely a prerequisite for passing on culture
and information
before there was any
Yes,
written text. So,
well, and again, culture being modes of survival.
Yes.
At that point, particularly.
Yeah. And that's why we're so drawn to story just innately, because that's how we were passing on all this acquired knowledge. That's how we were downloading. It was over a campfire and we were telling all these myths and that was helping us, right?
But you keep saying acquired knowledge. I think of it explicitly as survival techniques.
Okay.
Or enhanced mechanisms that enhance survival. Right? How to cook, how to eat, where to eat, when to eat.
Yeah.
Don't eat this kind of stuff.
Where do you wash your dishes?
Yeah.
Where do you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
All
And
these
then
little
here's how you
tips.
survive. And here's, if there's a war, here's what you do. And
yeah. And to counter Sam's position, which I probably am not doing it justice, but did you read Homo sapien or Homo Deus?
Not.
What he's suggesting is that what has allowed us to basically amass into these large civilizations where you can get specialized industry, right?
Yes.
You can have a Dr. Drew who doesn't have to grow his own food. He can just specialize on
Thank
addiction.
goodness, because that would not be a good survival story.
What was required for us to assemble peacefully was a shared myth. But he says this ability for humans to share a myth is what allows them to peacefully congregate, right? Because you're in a group of 100 humans.
Yep.
You come across in a group of another 100 humans.
Yeah,
there's
scary.
a high probability that there's going to be bloodshed.
Yes,
right?
scary.
What helped facilitate peace is that we can all believe in a myth, right? So be it the myth, the value of a currency,
Sure.
or the value of gold. So now
Ooh, I love that you put money in the same category. That's perfect.
right. So you come across this group of another 100, but both of you believe in this concept of gold in its,
so we can
its
exchange
value.
now.
So now we have this thing we both believe in that allows us to kind of coexist. And then, of course, that extends to if we have the same God. If you meet a group of another 100, and they go, "Well, we believe in Yahweh," and we're like, "Cool, so do we." Now we can get along. That it's really that ability to share a myth that allows us to assemble in great masses.
Yep.
And so in this country, we believe in the myth of that this is a country, that that's a thing, that we have the same nationality, that that's a thing, right? All these things they're just myths that we make up, and it helps us bond to one another.
And then we endow them with all
and it
sorts of
delineates
meaning.
in-group, out-group, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all very dangerous.
Yes.
And yet it is the thing that allowed us to create civilizations.
I would argue there's one other thing that sometimes people leave out that I think was probably significant is that we have to have a way to deal with our aggression. And I think one of the ways we dealt with that collectively was human sacrifice. We would put all of our aggressions into this one. Like, and you see human sacrifice in extremely traumatized populations where there's lots of aggression. Pre-revolutionary France, Aztecs, things like that. And in our culture, we just sacrificed one guy and he did it for all of us. One guy. We drink it, we eat him and drink his blood. This one guy. But he did it for us. And this we don't have to do it anymore because this one guy did it. Now we ritually eat him and drink him and all this stuff, which is one of the problems with Christianity in the Roman eyes. They thought it was a cannibal cult. That's what they thought it was. But anyway, but now because we have this ritual around that and we relive the trauma of him dying for our behalf, we don't have to do it anymore.
But here, so great. So you just brought up something that really still fascinates me and I'm boggled by. I feel like humans, just as a species, have this great propensity towards guilt. Because I think what you're saying is they would sacrifice a person, right? And they would funnel all of their errors. And I think we all walk around with a good deal of shame and guilt. And so if you can put that onto one person, right, that's somehow gratifying.
And we get a catharsis from it too. And then we feel collectively guilty. We're relieved of our guilt by him coming back to life.
Yes.
Our guilt's over. He's survived.
But I want to know what it is evolutionarily that has made all of us, and again, I'm speaking anecdotally what I think.
Yeah, we're gonna speculate purely.
Yeah. What would be the advantage of us feeling this shame or being so easily led towards guilt and shame? Is it just a product of being a very social animal?
Yes.
And we police each other's morals as a group and shame each other. If someone wasn't shamed, they would probably be sociopathic and then they would be murdered by the group.
Yes. Well, sort of, yes. And it's probably many, many layers to this, right? So we're going to just go on what occurs to us. But, I think you're really talking about guilt primarily.
Yeah, okay, guilt.
Because shame is different, right? Shame has all kinds of antecedents in trauma and mistreatment. And, it's I'm bad as opposed to I did something bad.
Right.
And really all the society cares about is that you did something bad. So guilt is a very powerful mechanism.
So really quick, society is saying you did something bad, but the individual person's feeling like I'm bad.
Shame is I'm bad. Guilt is I did something bad.
Oh, okay. Great distinction.
Yeah. And so guilt is something that, if you never did anything wrong, you never feel guilt.
Right.
But we're humans. And so we always do weird.
Good luck not doing something wrong. I wish you the best.
And so then we carry guilt and that can even, there can be shame also associated with that because I must be bad if I did that. It's not just that I feel guilty in the eyes of others. I'm judged myself. We take on what the culture tells us, right?
Yeah.
Stigma. It's another thing. Self-stigma is a real thing. I'm giving a lecture on self-stigma in July. And with stigma's out there, right? Mental illness is sort of what I'm interested in as it pertains to stigma. But the people that are mentally ill feel like, yeah, I should be stigmatized. There's something wrong with me.
Well,
and it's kind of crazy.
And you know what's interesting? This was something that I had a whole course on in anthropology, which is the Western world labels people with mental illness as a permanent condition. They're a schizophrenic. They're manic depressant. They're hyperactive. They're this, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like in sub-Saharan Africa, where they believe in witchcraft and spirit possession, it is a temporary condition that someone can have either because someone put a spell on them or whatever it is. And they can be relieved of it. And there is proof of people overcoming illnesses here we think of as permanent. And it's a language thing. You're going to bump up against this. This is where the objective and relative.
I wish I could change biology with that.
Right. But it is fascinating that culturally you can label those things as permanent or not.
Well,
permanent.
I would argue that it's probably more that the outlying problematic behaviors may not be perceived the same way.
Okay.
And if you are more inclusive, like for instance, I noticed in Western Europe, they don't really identify alcoholism. It's that's just Uncle Joe who drinks. That's the drinking Uncle Joe.
Right.
He's wasted every night. That's what Uncle Joe is, the wasted guy every night.
Uh-huh.
They incorporate it into identity.
Okay.
And so the behaviors aren't pathologized. They're just sort of recognized as part of, well, that's who that guy is.
Right.
He's that guy that,
they're not like unilateral. They're specific to Uncle Joe.
I remember like I was in a restaurant. I remember this, I was in Florence and it was a restaurant and my waiter was wasted and he was dropping dishes. And the other waiters were just like, that's the alcoholic waiter. That's that guy. And of course he's dropping dishes. He's the alcoholic waiter.
Right. What else did you expect?
I thought, wow. And so when he dies, it's like, oh, maybe you should have looked a little bit differently at it.
Yeah.
But they just sort of adopt and adapt and bring in the behavior. So if you're schizophrenic Joe and you're having visual hallucinations or something, you might make that person a shaman or might bring them into some other something where that those behaviors had utility.
Yeah.
You wouldn't stay sick, move them out.
Well, I'll commit at some point a full 2 hours to why I do believe what this teacher was saying, but I want to jump all the way back to repeating trauma.
Yeah.
Because I didn't spit out my theory to you.
Yeah.
I think that we are more than maybe we're trying to win over the approval of the father we never were able to.
Yeah.
I think that we often mistake familiarity with another emotion.
Yep.
So you meet this person who's basically reminding you of your dad, even though you're unaware of that. And it just feels familiar. And things that are familiar are less scary than things that are unfamiliar.
Yes.
So I do think people often confuse feelings of familiarity with love.
That could be. That would make sense to me. And familiarity is often what's sort of talked about as the reason that people are engaged with this repetition. It feels familiar. It feels like but there's really an attraction associated with it. And when I deal with patients, they will say, like, I was really like lightning bolts. Like I was really attracted to that guy. Yeah. And he was nothing like all the rest I've had. All the rest were the alcoholics. This guy's not like that.
Yeah.
Well, and lo and behold, he turns out to be an alcoholic because our attraction mechanisms are perfect.
Oh my God. So you just reminded me of my favorite speech you ever gave. And it was on an episode of Celebrity Rehab, which I want to talk about at great length because there's haters and there's lovers. I'm one of the lovers. But you were talking with a patient who was describing how they felt about someone they were attracted to.
Yeah.
And you were saying, that's not love.
Right.
Let me tell you what love is.
Right.
And you had the best description that I remember hearing someone say about love.
What did I say?
I don't know. I was hoping you would remember.
Nobody knows.
I know what I would tell people, we routinely told people was, if you have this repetition pattern and you feel lightning bolts, it's that again.
Yeah.
You should feel butterflies, not lightning bolts, is what we would tell people.
Right.
And love, we would say, more about two complete people being mutual and attracted and being able to fuse and come apart, but not being overcome by intensity.
Yeah.
Intensity is not love. That's usually what I'm telling them is intensity is not love.
Yeah.
And they confuse intensity and getting high with love.
Well, absolutely. As an addict myself, I can fully relate to getting myself very high on attraction. And I mean, as high as any other drug I've ever been on. the fantasy takes off, and I'm going to be this person when I'm with this person, and I will no longer have any of this self-doubt, self-hatred, self-loathing. Everything will work because I can feel it. I can see it. I can see where it's going, and it's all my earthly troubles will be behind me as soon as I am inside of this woman.
I love it so much.
Yeah,
It's
And do you
humanity at its best. I swear.
First
to
of
God.
all, we're the worst people on the planet, but let me
No,
also say,
no.
hold on, I'm going to defend us too.
No.
Don't you feel a little bit bad for us that whatever it is we're dealing with we need relief that bad?
Because you're human beings. You're like your humanity is writ large, and it's full of pain and uncertainty and all kinds of horrible feelings that overwhelm you guys. Yeah. But it's that richness that is what I love about addicts.
Yeah,
and smart too. They're always smart.
So you clearly were drawn to addicts, not unlike my mother who married many of them.
No.
Admittedly.
I didn't know I was. I had no idea. It was an accident how I got involved.
So
in.
you don't have a parent that was an addict?
Not that I can, not actively, not that I can tell. I got concerns my mom may have had the genes or something. So
Okay.
more rageaholic-y.
So you weren't like repeating.
No, not that I could tell.
Okay.
Not in any kind of classic way, anyway.
Let's just really quick say that your father was a doctor.
Yes. Yeah.
What kind of physician was he?
Family practice.
Family practice.
Yeah.
And your mother was a singer
Yeah.
and an actor.
Yeah.
So you are the perfect
but she had-
cross-pollination
But
of
she
them.
had stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
well, I
for-
said she was a singer and an actor.
Well, but for instance, when I was probably about 10 years ago, she was in a lot of these noir films.
Okay.
And a friend of mine was very sort of into that stuff. And he was visiting me at Loveline as a professor at SC, and he was looking her up online. He goes, "Oh, here's a webpage for her. I'd never done that." He goes, "Oh, here it is. She was married to blah, 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 the silent film star." And I was like, "Really?
Wait,
That's interesting."
no.
It's like she had an entire life.
No.
An entire life. I knew
Good for her.
nothing
Good
about
for her. I'm so proud of her.
Married
That's
to some
amazing.
very famous Western silent film star. I don't Harlan something.
What if you said Gene Autry?
No, it was before silent
right.
only.
Yeah.
And she was 18 years old, wife number 5.
Oh, boy.
He was my age.
Oh, geez.
my God.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Wait,
and,
that didn't last?
And
Even if they had a great relationship, he would have certainly died quickly and it couldn't have lasted all that
that's
long
right.
anyways.
And so that, there's all that kind of stuff going on.
But does it humor you at all that you have this weird hybrid of both being a physician and you are an entertainer on some level?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I had not done therapy, parts of me would have been left behind. I think therapy forced me to bring all my parts together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could not have done all this without therapy. No way. Because I was being the perfect doctor at that time.
You wanted your dad to really be.
I guess I just was fully invested in the identity of physician, period.
Great. And I'm so glad you just said that, because why? Why were you drawn to that? Because if I could just say, as someone who grew up dyslexic and was an idiot first through fifth grade, leaving to go to special ed.
Say shit like this?
Well, because
Am
listen,
allowed
I
to
was
cuss?
going to special ed and I was the dum-dum. That's just a fact.
Okay.
I later overcame that.
They did not have the proper technologies to identify and help you with these
Right.
barriers that were
Abs-
preventing you from expressing your cognitive skills.
Absolutely. My point being is
God
that in
damn
those
it.
formative
The
years.
self-loathing. I thought the self-loathing goes away in recovery.
I'm beyond it. I'm beyond it.
But it's something you overcame.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can tell you overcame your body. You brought it up 4 times already today.
Well, I'm just saying that because of those 5 years,
Yeah.
I have spent the rest of my life trying desperately to be recognized as someone who's smart. I know why I was drawn to having some kind of credentials that said
Yeah.
you're smart. So that's my baggage. That's the only reason I shared that. So I'm curious to know, do you think you had any kind of baggage that required you were going to have to prove to the world you were a doctor? If it wasn't your father.
No, very, very different experience for me. Clearly, it was something more about my identity and my doing. Because I struggled with it in college. I didn't want to do it. It's not me. Everyone expects this of me. So I was sort of expected to do it.
Yeah.
And I rejected it, and I screwed around for a year and a half, and I got very depressed and had panic attacks and all kinds of psychiatric symptoms. And as I was struggling, one day I went, but one thing I'm not going to go backwards. I'm not going to take their job, their world. And I thought, well, you do like science. What if you were to do it? And I started feeling better as I started thinking about doing these things that I'm really good at. And the more I moved towards it, the better I felt. And then I got excited, and then I got invested.
Well, is it because you made it yours?
Exactly. It's precisely right. But still, the identity was still some sort of subconscious processing of mom and dad and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it also was mine now. It was truly mine. And I always remember first year medical school, I'd park on the roof of this parking structure. And I had anatomy lab at the end of the day every day. And I'd walk out in the sunset, just go, oh, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so happy.
Oh, that's
so much fun. I loved my training. 8 years of training, and I really dug it. And as it went on, I got more and more and more and more into it. And then I became a severe workaholic, severe.
How's that going?
It's way better.
Is it way better?
I still.
Oh, that's good.
Really? No, it's way better. Now I don't feel. I mean, I felt it then. Now I'm busy, but it's busy that doesn't bother me. I like it.
Yeah.
And then I was having dread, and I was not sleeping, and I was just for years and years.
But let me ask you this: as someone who, because you're not an addict, and you weren't forced to go like be thoroughly humbled and then take advice from other people and do all this stuff, how does one who doesn't go through that process? How do you have the willingness to confront your identity? Do you evaluate your own identity and just have a checks and balances like, Drew, this is bullshit. This is something you think people like about you, and no one like. Do you do that? Lots
of it, but I've always done it. But I'm very, very self-critical. But it got more realistic in an interpersonal context again, and that was therapy.
Right.
Therapy I got so much out of therapy.
You did
everything.
How many years were you?
11 years.
Really?
11. I did a 3-year closure.
Oh, wow. What, that's to say goodbye?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
You built this person a very nice house, probably.
Possibly, but I
it was worth every penny.
Oh, my God. And I it was deep sort of psychotherapy and stuff, and I fell into some trauma stuff, all kinds of stuff that I didn't know was sitting around.
Right.
And towards the end, like the last couple of years, she started going, "Why are you here? You're not doing anything. You're not doing any work." I mean, I was like, "Yes, I got to come. I need more. And I'm like, I want to keep." And she's like, "Well, you're not doing anything." And finally, I went, maybe I need to go, and started working right again. So. Okay. And I realized that something that I had gotten none of growing up was rapprochement. Do you know what that is?
No, I do not. It sounds French.
It's a French word for coming.
I got horny when you said it. So.
For coming and going, approach and maneuver, away, come and away. And it's what kids do when they're gaining autonomy. They go, mommy, watch me. Go out and come back for refueling. And they go, they do some stuff, take more risks, and they come back and get refueling.
Okay.
Well, I had none of that. Zero. I mean, zero.
Because you were so closely monitored and helicopter parented?
Well, it was a little more pathological.
Your mother probably had a ton of anxiety, and you were something she could control, and it felt great?
Until she couldn't, and then I had to be rejected.
Oh, sure.
So as soon as I started to express autonomy, get away. I can't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So it's either all in or all out.
I've heard so many little pearls of wisdom from you over the years, and I don't even know where I heard you talking about this, but you were saying that what seems to be kind of ubiquitous in our culture is that parents are trying so hard to be such great parents that they're doing every single thing they can to prevent the kid from having any kind of discomfort or upset.
Yeah.
And then you also said that because our children are an extension of our own ego.
Well, they shouldn't really be.
They shouldn't be, but we make them an extension of our ego.
Yes.
And we, of course, are inclined to prevent discomfort in ourselves. So naturally extends.
So two things. One is, we don't have a good boundary between us and them, so their feelings become our feelings. And from an ego standpoint, they represent us.
Sure.
Two different things. Different things. Yeah.
I find myself all the time. I'll take my 5-year-old somewhere, and she has this defense mechanism. We get too much attention when we go out, and so when too many adults start talking to her as some kind of like conduit to us, she doesn't like it, understandably, and her response is to talk in baby talk. Mind you, it took me many times of watching this before I realized, this is her way of saying, shut the fuck up, stop talking to me.
Maybe, or she's regressing because she feels scared.
Okay, either or.
Yeah.
Either way, I had to recognize that I was embarrassed that the 5-year-old was talking baby talk.
Yeah, of course.
Which is preposterous.
Right.
I'm not talking baby talk.
That's
and
right.
I do the same thing. I think we all do the same thing with our parents. Like, actors' parents will visit a set and they're just mortified for 4 hours.
Oh, that's funny.
And they forget that another actor's parents were just on set the other day and they weren't mortified for that actor. They just recognize them as parents that are older and, but you really take on that shared family identity, right?
Yes.
And so every time I hear, like, she'll start talking baby talk in public, I can't stand it. It's embarrassing, but then I just go, I'm not going to tell her not to talk baby talk because it's just my embarrassment. If she's not embarrassed and this is somehow helping her get that person away from her, whatever.
It's also societal, though, that you feel they're representing you, because people will say, like, Dax Shepard's kid, or even if you're not famous, that person's kid did this, so they must be parenting incorrectly.
No, you're right. They will. The family sort of crest is identified with the bad behavior of one member of that family.
Yeah.
But back to what I was
because it's all back to the tribes and in-groups and the out-groups and everything. All that stuff's represented there.
I personally am judgmental of some of my friends' kids, their behavior. I'm assuming my friends are doing a terrible job. That's awesome. Ruling out any biochemical issues that are going on.
I don't know what to do with that. My kids are now 25. I have 25-year-old triplets, and they're starting to complain now about stuff like that I wasn't around, or I was famous, or that they were having to subjugate their needs to me and my brand or people's sense of me. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. If you want to go do something or speak ill of me publicly, please proceed.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I'll deal with it. It's not me telling you how to be. Please.
But your overall point, which I think needs to be heard by all parents, is that what you sow, or rather what you reap when you do this, when you prevent them from ever feeling discomfort or embarrassment or
There's a great book out there
heartbreak
called The Gift of Failure about parenting.
Okay. We just had Dr. Wendy Mogul on, who wrote The Gift of a Skinned Knee.
Yeah, same idea.
Blessing of
same idea.
Yeah. So what you were saying was, if your children, if you never allow them to develop some coping mechanisms, you will eventually send them off to college. They will meet the real world full of tons of disappointment, and they will have no option but to use drugs virtually.
Potentially, if those feel good to them, because they have to have a certain genetic setup for it to feel good.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I should have let you say that because it was your statement.
No.
I just wanted to remind you.
No, it's good.
I thought it was just a real light bulb moment for me where I thought, oh yeah, man, if you don't go through all that stuff.
And there's other stuff that I'm worried about now too, which is, I'll sort of put under the category of grit and insurmountable tasks. Both are important experiences. Grit meaning overcoming adversity and struggling without us intervening and saving it.
Right.
And the other is having some sort of insurmountable task in your life, overcoming something that you think you couldn't do. I had a couple experiences like that. And one of my sons did too. And I was talking to him about it, and it was like, yep, I know what was
yours?
I had two. One was I was the crappiest football player in the world, and I became the captain of a football team. I just gritted it out. Now, at a little private school and stuff, wouldn't have been possible, but I did it.
Right.
And then the other was when I was screwing around, hey, you're not the boss of me, man, in college, and then decided to go to medical school. There's no way I'm going to pull that off.
Right.
I remember I actually had a visual image in my head of a brick wall that went to infinity, like Jack and the Beanstalk. And I had to get over that wall. And I just thought, one brick at a time, man, just start putting the pegs in the bricks. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And pretty soon I was over the wall. And my son, football, he was not a great football player, ended up anchoring an offensive line. And same school, same problem with a math degree he had to get to. And he just did this amazing job and this impossible discipline.
Right.
And both, he feels like,
doesn't that give you such
can handle anything now,
Isn't that the most prideful moment you can have when you watch your kids overcome something they're not immediately great at? It's just,
I think, except they will let you know that, because although I thought it was really important, it was exactly what I wanted him to experience. He, of course, blames me for the misery of it. So they got to let you know. It's not something you can hold the pride for very long.
Yeah, well, you just can't let them know that.
No, that's right.
But I will say, having had two kids now, I am daily shown how much of this recipe is just nature, right?
A lot of it.
My 5-year-old, we have these poles in the patio, and they go up to the roof.
Yep.
And she started trying to climb this pole, and she spent 90 minutes doing it. failing until she finally climbed it and touched the roof.
Wow.
And I'm just watching the whole thing, and I'm
for
like,
her.
I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
I couldn't have instructed her to
No.
do this. I can't reward her for
No.
doing it. She has it in her to just keep at that
Yeah.
thing. And what a blessing, right? And I don't know that the 3-year-old has that, but we will find out.
Is it 2 girls or one girl?
2 girls.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, there's only so much you can kind of take credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can screw things up, though. I think that's mostly what we do as parents.
Yeah.
We mostly screw things up.
Yeah. And so the being recognizable and and I don't want to put you in a position where you have to air too much of what your kids are saying to you. What do you think you could have done better? What should I be doing better? Because I think about it quite often.
Yeah.
To be honest. Part of it is it is what it is, right? I can't
right.
not be famous. I can't turn a switch on at the
Right.
airport.
And I was in full survival mode with triplets, and I had to make ends meet, and I couldn't be home.
Right.
Could I have been home more? Yeah.
Mhm.
Could I have been less driven? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have been less anxious? Because I was super anxious back then,
Uh-huh.
for sure. Could I have interfered with some of the stuff my wife was doing that they're complaining about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's her, and she's who I married, and she's your mom, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't really change or control her necessarily.
Right. Because I tell this to new dads. I'm like, if you want to say in how these kids are going to be raised, you got to change half the fucking diapers and you got to wake up and feed them half the time. You're only entitled to equivalent levels of advice as you are putting into it. And I think traditionally or in the past, maybe dad's gone so much that he just really isn't entitled to kind of say what he thinks should be being done.
No, I was active, very active, and in there, but my daughter says not enough.
Right.
So,
And also, and this is what I think of sometimes too, is that I don't know where the concept comes from that you're entitled to perfect parents and that they should be there with you all the time. Because I certainly felt that way. Like, but at the same time, that's not reality. Someone has to go out and bring food home,
That's
right?
exactly right. And so I just keep thinking to myself, they need to have kids. Once they have kids,
Yes.
this will all stop. Because you realize it's just you've got to survive, especially with triplets. God, we were
Triplets.
No, I would have
traumatic
left if I were you.
situation.
I would have just owned the fact that I was going to be a
A lot
degenerate dad.
of people do that.
Yeah.
It happens a lot with triplet parenting.
It's a lot.
That's what they sat us down. They said reduce to 2 because no marriages make it through this.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like
that's-
having an autistic child. Your rate of divorce just goes through the roof.
Mhm. Although, I don't know, we were fine. And
You were fine.
We were partners in it all the way.
Yeah.
We really, when we decided to go for it and do the triplet, but before that we couldn't imagine reducing. It was just something we couldn't bring ourselves ethically or morally to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But we were being encouraged to do it. You know?
Okay. And they can do that. They can
Yeah.
give an abortion to one
It's called a
of the
selective reduction. Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. I had no idea.
And we spent a weekend at a hotel down in Laguna, just like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And I literally had this image in my head. Finally, on like Sunday morning, I was like, chips are all in. That's
Let's
it.
do it.
The chips are in. We are just
Okay.
all in on this.
Uh-huh.
We're in on parenting. That's it.
Yeah.
And we did it. So
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare. We are supported by Auto Trader. All right, if you've been putting off car shopping because it sounds like a whole thing, buying your car online on Auto Trader makes it way easier, really. You can shop tons of cars online, compare prices, check financing and trade-in options, all from wherever you are. And if you want to start online and go to the dealership for a test drive, you can do that too, really. What I like is the flexibility. Start online, finish at the dealer, or the other way around. Your info stays with you, so you're not starting the process from scratch. Plus, you're working with local dealer listings, so you've got real people helping behind the scenes. And when you're ready, you can pick up your car or have it delivered. Really. Buy your car online on Auto Trader. Really. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place.
Let's talk bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, but it does not have to be that way.
With SoFi High Yield Checking and Savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit.
No account or overdraft fees, which feels rare these days. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, perfect for getting ahead of a bill or grabbing what you need right when you need it.
Plus, get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/armchair. SoFi Checking and Savings is offered through SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms apply.
Confidence. It's listening to your gut. It's moving forward, even when the path ahead is unclear. For nearly 160 years, Pacific Life has helped people keep their promises, building confidence for generations. Whether you're confident in your financial future or just beginning to envision it, we're here to help. Ask a financial professional how. Pacific Life, the power of a promise. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York, Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
And you said something really interesting to me. We were at a wedding not too long ago together, and you said, which shocked me, is that you wouldn't want your children to pursue medicine.
No.
Does that not blow your mind, Monica? Don't you?
Only one circumstance I would, if it's their calling, if they must.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's part of my identity. I couldn't imagine having not experienced it. And, even I've not been as active in my practice the last couple of years. And so I've been backing away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changing my perspective. But if you had talked to me 4 years ago, I would have said, I can imagine not understanding all the things I know. How do you get through life without this information?
Right.
Now I'm sort of like, you can always go to somebody and talk to them about it.
Yeah.
I understand how people can get through now. But by the same token, if you want to be a physician, it's the real doctor part of it is so painful now. It's so difficult and so uncomfortable.
Tell me,
you don't get to do it. You unless you're outside the system, like a plastic surgeon or something.
Okay.
In the system, it's ridiculous.
The system being like HMOs
Medicare
and all,
and insurance companies. So you don't get to do your job. All you're doing is
give me an example of that.
All you're doing is administering paperwork and taking liability. It's essentially all you do. I mean, you can make judgments and you can do things, but what you can do for your patients is second guessed by everybody. So, Medicare gives you $36 every 15 minutes for a patient. And for that 15 minutes, there's a requirement of all the things you have to document. There's pages of stuff you have to document to get that $36 for that 15 minutes. And then if you don't dot some I or cross some T, you'll hear from the Office of Inspector General that they're going to federally charge you for having not put the right code in or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
If you, God forbid, there's a bad outcome, well, now you've got a lawsuit and everything you wrote down is now gospel, and whatever you did and what your judgment
It's
was.
like a police
has
report
no meaning.
all of a sudden.
Absolutely, all the time. Every interaction.
Right.
And that's just Medicare.
I
And
have
if there's
noticed, now that you say that, I've noticed that my appointments have become really computer driven. So the guy comes in and he rolls in a computer right away and he's going through.
Well, that's
thing.
the great electronic medical record, which has been a catastrophe for most people, most doctoring. Because you're doing all your work on the computer, not with the patient. You're not
they are
doing any
staring at
care.
the computer 99%.
Yeah, you're
of the
you're not
time.
doing any care because you have to do that.
Is there a better way, or
yes, like let the market determine the relationship between the doctor and the patient. Let the doctor document reasonably well. Let the doctor's defense in a tort situation be that he or she's decision was based on my judgment. Here's why I made that decision, and that should be a defense.
Right.
As opposed to I was negligent, I didn't pay any attention. Well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But if you have your reasoning there and this is why I did it, that should be good enough.
Yeah.
Nothing's good enough. Then with insurance companies, they literally determine the care you can deliver, like how long you can see the patient, how often you see the patient.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot tell you how many. This was most of my life in addiction medicine was spent trying to get resources for patients, not taking care of the patient. And then dealing with legalities and administrators and
meaning trying to get insurance providers to pay for treatment or aftercare, or
and
something like that.
and they never did it. Patients that needed 6 months of treatment, the maximum I'd ever get would be like 7 days.
Really,
Ever.
7 days.
And then when you discharge, then when you go to the patient, you go, I don't want to bore you, but listen, this is the burden of a physician these days. But you go to the patient, you go, listen, if you stay the extra day, the hospital, we can make a deal with the hospital, but they're going to charge you, and it's going to be, a lot of money. So I don't feel comfortable burdening you with that. But I think you need another 3 weeks or 2 weeks in the hospital, whatever it is. And you were suicidal yesterday. You're still having heroin withdrawal, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call my insurance company. They call the insurance company. The insurance company says, oh, well, if the doctor would just give us the information, of course we would extend your stay. What they don't tell the patient is the insurance company sets the criteria of that information, and you don't meet that criteria. Okay. Their criteria, not my criteria, random insurance company criteria. So then the patient gets angry, and as with me, they split now, the patient and the doctor. They do what's called a doctor-to-doctor review with me, so more time spent on the phone trying to make my case to another doctor who says, get the patient out tomorrow. So I discharge the patient tomorrow, and let's say the patient goes and kills himself. They go, we don't practice medicine. That's Dr. Pinsky's name on the chart there. We don't practice medicine. That's his name. We have nothing to do with this. He discharged the patient. Then you make a complaint to the insurance company, and they go, oh, you're a troublemaker, Dr. Pinsky. We'll talk to your hospital administration about this. Then they complain to the hospital administrators. If you continue to make trouble, they'll go, oh, really? You don't like our business practices? We'll decertify you and the entire hospital.
Wow.
That's the game.
That does not sound very.
It's not fun. And all you're trying to do is take care of patients. It's all you want to do. It's all you're trying to do.
Right.
It's terrible.
And what drew you out of school to do addiction?
Accident.
It was an accident.
Pure accident.
Because you did your residency somewhere?
Internal medicine. I was doing a residency in internal medicine. I was going to be a cardiologist.
Okay.
And I ended up moonlighting in a psychiatric hospital down the street, and all these addicts were there getting detox. I was like, you can make a discipline out of detox? How weird. I've treated lots of heroin addicts and alcoholics. I didn't know there was some sort of process to this.
Right.
So I became an expert in detox and started having to see lots of alcoholics and addicts.
What's the most dangerous detox?
Alcohol.
Yeah, right. You can.
Heroin can have complications, but the straight detox alcohol is the one. Benzo's number 2, probably.
Yeah. Benzos is a very rough detox.
Very rough.
You and I were talking when we were doing that weird satellite tour is that the thing no one talks about, right? That everyone's talking about opiates, and it's certainly a huge pandemic. But benzos, there's so many benzo addicts, and it's one of the hardest things to quit, right?
It's the very rough.
So benzos, Xanax, Ativan,
Valium, that's
lorazepam.
Hidden epidemic right now. 96% of OxyContin deaths included a benzodiazepine or other substance.
Right, because those two combine to really suppress your breathing. Right?
Yes, like Prince was on enough fentanyl to knock him off his feet, but it's the Xanax that made him stop breathing.
Right. It's a very lethal combination.
Yes, and yet prescribed all the time.
In conjunction.
Yeah.
Right?
And so, so physicians learn that the way to end an appointment is open your prescription pad. That's the quickest way to end an appointment. And for drug addicts and alcoholics, that's the worst thing you can do. That's not what they need.
Yeah.
And so, there's this horrible problem going on now. I don't blame my peers. I blame them, but I understand why they do what they do. They aren't trained properly in it. They don't have time. They're being pushed by insurance carriers.
Well, in a 2-second history of this.
It's essentially that a couple of doctors with very spurious information declared that opioids were not addictive.
Right.
And that we were under-treating pain.
Yes.
And they developed a alliance of patient advocacy groups and attorneys and then pain specialty groups that we were in the dark ages of pain, and a religious fervor emerged to treat pain aggressively to the point where 90% of the opiates prescribed on earth were prescribed in this country. Mm-hmm. Pain became the 5th vital sign. That was done by Joint Commission on Hospital Accreditation.
What does that mean?
State
5th
medical
vital sign.
Pulse, temperature, blood pressure, respirations, pain level.
Oh, okay.
As important as your pulse. That's how insane we got.
Right.
And if you didn't have a happy face, not only were you practicing poor medicine, you were not just guilty, potentially malpractice, but they started putting doctors in jail for inadequate treatment of pain.
Oh, wow.
And fining them outside of their malpractice for reckless negligence.
Oh, wow.
For inadequate treatment of pain. It sends shockwaves.
So it's really incentivized them prescribing people.
It got crazy. And people like me who were the whole while screaming about it, we were marginalized. We were told we were old fashioned. We were dinosaurs. We preferred people to suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just really a horrible time. And still I hear some of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there certainly is a time for it, right? So my stepfather just died of prostate cancer, and I was up there, and I was in charge of administering. I mean, he had everything.
Meds.
He had methadone. He had liquid oxycontin.
But that's what it's designed for.
Yes, and I will say, so in that situation, I was saying to my mom and everyone there, man, thank God we weren't doing this in the 1800s. Like I just read the Ulysses S. Grant biography.
It was life changing.
Oh yes,
was that not life changing? That biography?
Yes. Unbelievable.
I cannot
totally
recommend that biography strongly enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's showing a whole new light to me on race relations, why black folks are where they're at.
Yep.
This notion that they had full access to everything
Yep.
in 1868 is horseshit.
Absolutely.
It's a fantasy.
For 5 minutes they had it, and then completely upended.
Yes. But anyways, he died of throat cancer.
Yes,
And when you
in
read the
pain.
description
Yes.
of dying of throat
Yes.
cancer in the late 1800s, I can't imagine anything worse. He
Yes.
couldn't even drink water. It was like battery acid in his neck.
Yes, and they described pulling out the big clumps.
Oh my God, yes. The clumps they would come excavate so he could breathe. So having just read that is as sad
Hey,
and
kids,
as
don't
painful
smoke.
as the
It's like-
experience of my stepfather, I was incredibly grateful that we live in an era where you can, for the most part, avoid the ugliness of
That's
it all.
right. That's right.
But so you and I also share a view that is kind of a little bit controversial. We both are pretty critical of suboxone.
Yes.
But I before we get critical of it,
Here's the way I frame my criticism. I'm criticism of the excessive enthusiasm for it.
yeah, like it's a cure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's really dangerous.
So before I even air my grievances with it, let's just say that I want to make their case for them, the proponents of it, and that is there's this huge opiate epidemic.
Right.
There are a ton of young people dying.
Yep.
Tens of thousands are dying a year, and those people aren't going to go get sober. And so what you're really
we don't know.
we don't know, but
We
let's
don't know,
just-
but
their argument would be that the relapses are so chronic,
Yes.
and so many kids
That's
are
unrealistic
dying,
to say that they
it's
could get sober.
unrealistic that
Yes.
they're going to get sober.
Yes.
And so what you're really determining is do you want to save this person's
Correct.
life?
Is our goal to save lives, or is our goal to restore to a flourishing existence?
Right.
Those are two different goals.
They're two different goals.
I am not interested in the former.
I just
in
want
terms
to
of
say
being
though, I
involved
want to
in the treatment.
acknowledge that I 100% I appreciate that point of
Yeah,
view. If
yeah,
I was the
me too.
parent of a 19-year-old, I
Yep.
would say fuck it. I'd rather have him a little zoned out
Yep.
than alive.
We'll deal with it later, whatever. I'm
very
with you.
sympathetic to it.
Me too.
With that said,
With that
go ahead.
said, I'm not interested in participating in that. That's not a form of treatment that turns me on.
Right.
I'm interested in what got me into addiction treatment is while I was moonlighting at the hospital. When I was doing all those detoxes, I watched these people go from dying, young people with rich lives ahead of them dying, to amazing. And I was like, nowhere in medicine does that happen. What is
Right.
that?
People are basically beating terminal cancer.
I had no idea, and not just being terminal, but and then becoming like Olympic athletes.
Right,
at the
right.
other side of it, I'm like, I was stunned. I couldn't figure out what was happening.
Yeah.
but I wanted to know, and that's what got me in, and that's what I'm interested in helping with.
Yeah.
So it begs the point, though. How do you select the right patient for the right treatment? And we don't really know that yet.
Yeah.
We have instincts.
What would
and-
help us? Because it is such that stakes could not be higher.
Yeah.
If you're trying to evaluate whether someone will be able to use a 12-step program and maintain sobriety
Yeah.
and have all the wonderful discoveries I've had through that, or will they just never get that and they just need to be on
That's right.
suboxone? It's
Or
almost
some
impossible.
intermediate something. They get motivational enhancement and CBT therapy while they're tapering on suboxone.
But at least
or
tell
something.
people what are the effects of suboxone? First,
you get very high. You're on a drug. You're on opiates. If you took it now, you'd have trouble working.
right. Should I take some just to
No,
for this
not the
conversation?
case. I have plenty of patients that
science.
used to abuse suboxone. Lots of them.
Right.
It's a
It is
common-
not dissimilar to the methadone response.
It's the same. It's a different thing, but it's the same idea, and it's the same thing that physicians have done since 1890. How do we treat alcoholism in 1890? With morphine sulfate. How do we treat morphine addiction? With amphetamine and electric shock therapy and in all kinds of crazy stuff. We always go to the replacement. Because that's what we do. We use pharmacology as doctors. What else do? We don't do a lot else.
That's your
sometimes.
toolkit.
Yeah, and we have a knife. We
Can't
have-
go home with these people and police them.
Right, which is my point about 12-step. That's the only way that can happen, and they do need that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Sidebar: have you read any of this stuff about psilocybins being used for addiction recently? It's kind of compelling, even though I'm
yeah.
never going to try it.
I'm trying to work on some documentaries on this topic. I'm mostly psilocybins and LSD. I think mostly are going to be end of life. They're going to be interesting end of life.
Like microdosing people.
No, that's a mood intervention, to try to deal with your existential problem.
Crises.
Yeah, right. But I'm not surprised people are trying psilocybin. I don't see how it possibly works.
There was I listened to a really good podcast on
Yeah.
it. It was on Tim Ferriss's, and he had a guy on. And he was saying, what's interesting about psilocybins is your neocortex, right, is where your identity lives. That's
not true.
That's not true.
We don't know that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
like Damasio down at SC
Uh-huh.
thinks it's this entire big section sort of parietal deep in. And by the way, we're embedded in a body. That's part of who we are too.
Okay.
You know, this is much, much more complicated than that.
Okay. Well, for the sake of this
Yeah,
argument, let's
yeah.
say that it exists in your, the last area of your brain to evolve.
Maybe your self-concept.
Yeah, your identity, your sense of self.
Okay.
And that what happens when you take psilocybins or LSD is it actually shuts that area of your brain
Yes,
off.
that is true.
To a degree.
Yes.
That you can actually start experiencing the connectiveness of you and the rest of everything on
Yes.
this planet,
And-
which is really hard to do
Yes.
while your sense of self is fully engaged.
And if, by the way, you're facing end of life, which is the end of self, and you fear that experience, you can have that experience and turn out and feel okay about it.
oh, right.
And that's probably why it's useful. One of the reasons it's useful.
Mute that sense of identity and self.
Yeah, and again, go through it and go, hey, you can be okay without the self, and you can connect to something. There is something besides the self out there.
Right.
And that makes perfect sense for end of life. Doesn't make great sense for addiction.
Mid-30s. Okay, so suboxone, what are some of the side effects? So you are altered.
You're on
right?
an opiate.
You're on an
It's a flat
opiate.
opiate. It's just a different pharmacology, a different binding structure, a different intensity. Just different pharmacology.
Yeah.
And it's definitely better, but it's not a lot different than just saying, hey, let's just give you heroin
Right. And here's where
and control it. We'll control it.
And it's important that you get this out here because it would be very easy from the outside to just start looking at statistics.
Mm.
And there are a lot of compelling statistics to support Suboxone use, right? So one of them is what?
Survival.
A year after using it. That's where most of the data is collected.
Correct.
Right?
And the problem, again, but you're zeroing in a bigger problem, which is really to have meaningful data on addiction, you need 5-year data. Because this is what I get to see next is all the fallout after the first year. Yeah, they kind of stabilize, and then they start using other drugs, and then they start messing around with the Suboxone. They're still a using addict.
Right.
And that thing progresses. That thing comes
back.
back.
And you were saying, a good chunk of those people that even on it for a year, they're peeing other stuff too, right?
And they're never tested for it.
Oh, okay,
None of that data
They're just
includes
screening
testing for opiates.
Yeah, so they're not looking for benzos.
Yeah, and that makes it very problematic. And that's we just.
So
and there's a
problem
big
number
black
one
market. They sell it to get heroin. The young ones all do that. They all do that.
And so one of the issues is just the data is not long term enough, right?
Yes,
So
which is
kind of
generally the
misleading.
problem with addiction medicine. Yes.
Yes. And then another great point you brought up was that the statistics for 12-step programs aren't great.
Wrong.
They're not very
Wrong.
Well,
There's about to be
I'm
a
going to let you say that, but before you correct me, if you just look at the data and it says, let's say Hazleton is the most successful treatment facility.
Treatment is different than 12-step.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, let's just go through it then. So one would be the highest percentage of recovering addicts out of one treatment center is like in the 30s, right? It's like 36%.
Yeah, it depends on how many treatments, though, right? The dirty little secret is for a severe alcoholic, it takes an average of 4 treatments in 5 years to get 1 year of sobriety.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
It's a bummer, yeah.
It's the way it is.
Yeah.
Takes a while.
But from the outside, if you're just a layperson who's never dealt with addiction and on any level, and you go, wait a minute, the best treatment facility in the country is only getting a third of the people sober, that's a little disheartening. I could see where they would be critical of that. But here's what the point I want you to make, because we talked about it, is unlike other diseases where we can monitor the effect of the treatment by going, okay, this person had cancer, we gave them this level of chemotherapy, and they had this result. AA is not a pill.
Right.
So there are so many elements of AA. There is, you go to meetings, that's one of them. The other one is you recommend to get a sponsor. You start talking to this person. Another one is you work the 12 steps.
It's all these things you have to do.
Right. Another element is you provide service and you help other people get sober.
And nobody ever measures that in their studies.
Exactly. So because there are these 5 pillars or whatever, however many there are, to just say some guy walked into an AA meeting, that's a good judge of whether or not that whole program works. When the whole program's taken holistically, the number's probably much more significant than what
when
you're
people
saying.
do it works.
Right.
And you know that, and I know that.
And it's
Getting
hard for
to do
people
it.
on the outside to recognize that.
There's about to be a Cochrane analysis, which is the state-of-the-art.
Johnny Cochran?
No, state-of-the-art meta-analyses.
Okay.
This is a compilation of all the data that's available, being published by a guy named John Kelly out of Harvard. There's a guy named Keith Humphreys in Stanford that's behind this. And the data for abstinence is good or better than any treatment out there. For mutual aid societies generally, whether it's Smart Recovery, 12-step, whatever it is, their outcomes for abstinence are extraordinary.
What's the alternative to abstinence? Suboxone and other?
Which would be some other is cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational enhancement therapy, replacement therapies, some combinations of these things. And these things are helpful, but I don't think that, without 12-step, if your goal is restore that person's life, there aren't enough manpower in the world to do what's necessary to get that addict where they need to go.
Right.
And it's there and works. And now we have the meta-analysis about to be published showing you that it works.
Yes.
And the other thing is getting people engaged. This is another piece that's really off problematic. Keith Humphreys has a study where he showed that, if you go to an emergency room as an alcoholic, they did this study where I think it was a veteran study, and somebody came in the emergency room, then withdrawal, whatever. They had one group where the doctor sat with the patient, gave them pamphlets about 12-step, education about 12-step, meeting schedule, and said, go do it. And that was that. In the other population, they did the same thing, a little less education, but said, and I'd like to introduce you to Dax here, who's going to take you to a meeting tonight. Dax meets Joe. And you say, tonight I'll see you at 6:00. We'll go to the meeting. Okay. In the educational group, the meeting attendance was, what would you predict?
So low.
0.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to predict that low.
In the warm handoff,
yeah,
the meeting attendance was 100%.
No way.
100%.
That's stark.
And the recovery rate amongst that group, I forget how far out they took it, was quite good.
Yeah.
So part of it is education. We don't stand behind it. It's free. This is what the thing I can't understand. We have these freaking free services out there that stand up to scientific scrutiny free. And we don't advocate for it.
Well, by the way, that's a clue for you.
Well, I know.
It was hugely profitable.
Yeah.
I'd see billboards everywhere. I'd see ads on TV.
But the government should be getting behind it. The community should be getting behind it. And of course, you have to be careful because there's traditions that, suggest we shouldn't be. Yeah. But I'm saying, at least from an educational perspective, we should be advocating on behalf of it.
Yeah. Let's just talk the 11th tradition, right? That's we're going to stay anonymous at the level of press
right. So Bob and I
break this.
Well, I think Bob and I studied it that's the fourth one was
I don't know
the
what
first
number
one.
It is.
Well, Bob and I went at that hard before we decided to do Celebrity Rehab.
Right.
And it turned out that was mostly Bill Wilson's wife's idea. And that late in her life, she completely converted and said, no, you have to get out in the media. People need to learn about this.
Well, I have a friend who's a bit of an AA historian, and he said what he had read was that was mostly so that they wouldn't be inundated with the trillion drunks that were rampant in society. The level of it was just they couldn't have every drunk showing up at their door.
And to be fair, it has worked that way, right? It's been good, but
I think there's been a paradigm shift in. But if you were an alcoholic, quote, in the 50s, that was a very shameful thing, and I just don't think it has the stakes anymore.
True,
and my stance has always been, I'm happy to piss off a handful of people in AA if it means 25 dudes that listen to me find their way to AA. You can put me on a cross.
Well, and what they meant by media was totally different than what we have in media today. They didn't envision all this.
That we all are immediate outlet.
Yeah, there was no concept of all this, and the idea of a reality show. What the hell? That's not. They were thinking. Really, they were thinking advertising.
Right.
They were thinking Madison Avenue promotion.
Yeah, because we want to appeal to people through attraction, not promotion.
That's right.
So your show, which I've had many debates with people over the years about.
Sure.
First of all, I loved it. Did you watch it, Monica?
I did not.
Oh, it was so good. And I will say it works on a lot of levels. The criticism of it, of course, was that you were kind of voyeuristically profiting or something on people's pain and addiction.
So let's go to that.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's just break it on each one.
Yeah.
So one was the traditions. So Bob and I really thought a lot about that, and it was actually Bob's idea to go ahead with this. And I thought, dude, if it's your instinct, okay, let's go do it. You should
Bob's just an
Bob
awesome.
You should interview
guy.
him sometime. It's a great interview.
Yeah.
But I fully engaged. So this issue of let me I can take you through all the criticisms because I think about them very carefully.
Yeah.
They're too sick to make a decision to agree to be in a situation.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
that's a pretty good.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And to me, that means that an alcoholic addict in their disease is in too sick of a position to consent to anything. They can't consent to treatment. They can't consent to what? I mean, are they so impaired they can't consent to things?
Right.
In the eyes of the law, that's not true. They consent to all kinds of things all day long.
Or they wouldn't be held accountable for any of their.
They can't go into treatment without consenting to treatment.
Yeah.
So that's sort of an issue that's been kind of squared.
Okay.
And by the way, if I had heard from any of the patients that, hey, man, I didn't really know what I was getting into, never heard that once. We all, in fact, we heard quite the opposite, which was we didn't know this was going to happen. Something happened that we didn't know. People all came in because they wanted to make money. They maybe wanted a little treatment, and they wanted to screw with us. They wanted to make hell for us.
Sure. They did a great job.
And
with that,
but because we took the treatment so seriously, halfway through the treatment, every one of them had the same thing. They went from being resistive and whatever, and just there for the money, to being, oh my God, I'm getting something out of this, to I want to share this with other people, and I want this to be a good outcome so I can make a difference for other people.
Yes.
Every single patient had that transition, did not expect that.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to God for that. That was an amazing transition everybody had.
Yes. And also, by the way, I look at it this way. It's the spoonful of sugar with the medicine. It's like, sure, I initially tuned into that. I was sober. And so I have an interest in it. So I'm tuning into the fucking train wreck, right?
Yep.
That is my initial, attraction to it. And then I'm very judgmental of the people on there. And I'm like, oh, look at this dirtbag and he's a liar and blah, blah, blah. And 100% of the time, there would be a breakthrough where I would go, holy fuck, this is someone's child.
This is a human being.
This is a human being. And all that stuff aside, we got to help each other, man. Look how much help this person needs.
That was perfect.
Everything I do in media.
Everything in media I try to sort of bait and switch. I try to bring you in because it's media, but I want to give you something you need. That's always the way I try to do it.
Absolutely. And, some of the other, the only fair critique of it is that you were a little handcuffed.
Well, okay.
So I would hate for people to think, go ahead.
Yeah. So then people go, oh, well, you're exploiting these people. I go, please ask them if they felt exploited or if they had any perception of exploitation.
Right.
You would think if somebody was exploited, the exploited individual, one of them would have a feeling of exploitation.
Yeah.
Not one.
Right.
So good.
I believe that.
And here's where I was humbled.
Continue, good doctor.
Here's where it was different than, and I didn't know the cameras seemed to help treatment. The payment definitely helped treatment because I could motivate them to stay in. Hey, you want to leave? Get out of here. I'm going to dock your check.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful.
Sure.
But I couldn't fire people. I couldn't kick them out. That was different than normal.
Yeah. So that's the part that is dangerous because I think some people on the outside were like, well, these fucking addicts, they get away with murder and there's no consequences. And that's why they're this way to begin with.
Correct. That was an adjustment I had to make. That's
the thing you just got to swallow, right?
Well, I had to think of it as a tool that I did not have.
Yeah.
And I was going to have to use other things, which was the carrots and the other ticks. And it, of course, it worked. I was surprised.
Yeah.
The only other thing that's different is bringing 10 people in on the same day. Everybody comes in all at once. And that's like, whoa, that is very stressful for me.
Yes.
Because they're sick.
Yeah.
And they're sick for a week or so. And that is heavy lifting.
Yes.
Usually it's 1 or 2 a day. And the newcomers, are helped by the guys that have been there and stuff. This is everybody all at once.
I would also imagine too, it breaks apart this societal dynamic that's helpful, which is you enter a treatment facility. There's some people 28 days.
Yes,
there's people that are already working it.
Yes.
And your inclination as a multi-member group primate is to kind of blend in and go with the flow. Whereas it's just fucking everyone leaves the gates at the same time.
Right. And so then it all falls to us, right? Then we've got to get them in. We got to get them in.
Yeah.
And that worked too. That went okay. And what that's,
but I loved it. And my defense of it was always this, like, you are, whether you tuned in for this, that, or the other thing, you're getting exposed to really great principles and you're watching them work.
Yeah. And we treated them for a long time afterwards too. We offered them treatment for a long while afterwards in every case.
Yeah.
Some of them took it. Some of them didn't. Some of them were doing amazing. Yeah. And some of them not. That's the way the deal goes.
What's interesting is even though I've got like now, 15 years of experience of being in meetings and everything and commingling with a bunch of other addicts, I couldn't do the job you do because I have I don't think it's unique to me in AA, which is a fuck you, get with the program or go try your thing. So there's this
but
weird
I need you guys.
Right.
I need you. I have lots of people. Glad to hear you that way because I will refer you people to sponsor. Then you're going to judge and what the people that are just, or at least to enroll. The handoff. The way I look at that is like those people that I refer that way for enrollment we'll go to the mat for people if they're motivated. If they're not, they'll have nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Totally appropriate.
Like what you have to do as someone who's running a treatment facility is just much different than what I have to do.
It's a very different role.
And when a new guy comes in, and I just personally believe there is a level of humility required for this thing to work.
Yep.
I've seen tens of thousands of people try to get this. And to me, the ingredient that is absolutely required is humility and an acknowledgement that you need some help and guidance.
So I always tell them, shut up, put the cotton in your mouth, take it out of your ears, sit down, sit your ass down in a seat a couple times a day and just shut up. Now, the real art that recovering people sometimes do is I've seen some amazing full-scale attacks on newbies, but that scare the crap out of me. I think the guy's going to go kill themselves. Yeah. That gets them in, either out of resentment or out of waking them up or something. People that apply that when they do it. Yeah. Oh,
well, we can also say, and you probably can't, bullshit, motherfucker. I know exactly how it works. You were just doing this. I did it. I did it. What are you talking about? Like, you really think you're telling me that's what happened?
I have a version of that because I'm really pretty good at knowing what's bullshit. Bullshit. And I feel
just about 90% bullshit.
I've learned to just trust what comes out of my mouth, and I'll sometimes say something like that or worse. I'll say, "You're full of shit. You never even knew," and they'll be crying and they'll wake up and I think, oh, they're going to punch me. Yeah. And they go, "I know. How'd you know? I don't even know anymore what's bullshit, what isn't," because they don't.
Yeah. So you also had there was a spin-off show about sex addiction.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Before you do, the other criticisms we got was early on we intentionally kept the 12 steps out because of the 11th tradition. It's the 11th tradition. Yeah. And then what was the big complaint from the 12-step community? Where's the 12 steps?
Right. He can't win.
And so we brought it back in and started calling it classes and assignments and things like that. Still same complaint.
The compromise I had always been instructed on was that I was always allowed to refer to it as a 12-step program. I'm in a 12-step program.
You can't name the program. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just, I'm doing hours and hours of this, but there's no fucking way I'm going to keep saying 12-step program.
The new nomenclature is going to be Mutual Aid Society.
What is it?
The new nomenclature is Mutual Aid Society.
Mutual Aid Society. Yeah, it's even longer.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, they're just going to have to deal with me saying A.
All right,
but one of the good criticisms, though, I will say that is more of a current issue, and why I do have respect for it is if I'm out here talking about AA, now all of a sudden Dax is the face of AA, and I'm just as likely to relapse as anybody else.
Yes.
And so if I relapse, it will not be an indictment on AA. It'll be that I stopped working the program correctly, because when I did work it correctly, it got me 14 years of sobriety. So that's probably the thing that people do need to lead with, and I try to lead with often.
Yeah.
But what seems to be pretty acknowledged now, I'm sure there's pushback, but that this disease of addiction is real, and that it requires treatment, and it is a health issue, right? I don't feel like sex addiction has that same kind of respect in our society.
It for sure doesn't. I did an interview with somebody today about love addiction, and that definitely is not. And it
sounds goofy to people, right?
Well, and I get a little concerned about the over application of the term addiction too. I mean, it's a construct, with
how would you define addiction?
Well, with how do I define it?
Yeah.
I define it as a genetic disorder, a biological disorder with a genetic basis, that the hallmark for which is the progressive use and preoccupation in the face of adverse consequence.
Okay.
Consequence on work or school, finance, health, legal, or financial status, and then denial. That's all I need for addiction. Okay. Now, the DSM-5 has all kinds of different breakdowns of criteria and this and that.
Right.
But for me, it's the gene, the progression, the consequences, the denial. And I know it's there then.
Okay. So, but environmentally, so my mom is a CASA. Do you know what a CASA is? It's a court-appointed advocate for kids in foster care.
Yeah.
And to be that, she's a volunteer. She has to go to all these workshops every couple months. And she left one of the workshops and she called me. She was molested. My dad was molested.
But the trauma puts the rocket fuel on addiction.
Great. So I was going to say you could conceivably not have the biological component and have been traumatized sexually as a kid and be still off to the races. No.
No.
Really, you think there has to be a biologic component?
A gene.
Oh, really?
Component. Oh, yeah. But the trauma. I mean, there are traumatized kids that don't become drug addicts. But if you're a traumatized kid with that gene, it's game on.
It's over.
For sure.
She said it was 80%.
Yeah. And I always told people, I said, look, I was giving a lecture one time and I said, look, all of my patients have trauma. It's just, if they're bad enough addicts, they need to see me. They had childhood trauma. And this very, very bright important psychiatrist said to me, he goes, don't say always, never say always. So I gave up and gave the lecture, and I said, Dr. So-and-so has advised me not to say always, so I'll say it this way. 100% of my patients have childhood trauma. And it's always, always, always there. If it's bad enough, and I'm not saying all addiction requires that. I'm saying if you get bad enough addiction that you need to say me, you had it for sure.
Okay. So because here's one thing.
And that's, by the way, that's the piece of addiction that people get all effed up about, which is, well, why'd they use in the first place? Why did they use? I understand why they got out of control. There's a gene, the biology drove it. Okay. Why'd they use in the first place? That's the trauma. They're trying to regulate emotions that are unmanageable.
Right. You're trying to take something from the outside and fix something on the inside.
Correct. And it works.
So,
by the way, it works. You wouldn't do it if it didn't work.
Absolutely. It works it can work for quite a while.
Yep.
Yeah. And in fact, there was a period it worked better than this. Like, it could shut that brain of mine off. And there was a lot of peace in that. The thing with sex addiction, the time that I saw where people seemed to be so outraged that it was being used was when Tiger Woods came out and said, "I'm a sex addict."
Yeah.
And I think I think what happened there, in my opinion, is that people were hearing that as an excuse.
Right.
And that was not an excuse in my mind. That was an explanation.
Correct.
And I get so infuriated at people not being able to make that distinction.
Well, it came up today in conversation, in fact. So let me tell you what I told it was my radio partner. And I said, look, she goes, why does it only happen when the wife finds out about it? Then blah, blah, blah. And I go, why do I only see alcoholics when they get a DUI?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, that's different. And I go, well, why is it different? She goes, well, what if they didn't get a DUI? I said, then I see them with alcoholic liver disease. I don't see them before their consequences.
Right.
You have to get the consequences before you get through to them.
When it's
whether
working.
it's getting caught by the wife or getting and she goes, well, if they're not married, when do you see them? I said, when they have medical problems, which they do.
Yeah.
All kinds.
Or financial as a result
or
of paying
criminal
for it.
stuff. They get into all kinds of crazy shit.
Absolutely.
And so you don't see an addict until they have their consequences.
Yeah.
It just happens that one of the more common ones for the sex addict is screwing up relationships.
Yes. And this concerns me, and I've railed about this before, but I think if you, I'll just use a wife for the sake of this argument. Yeah. If a wife found out that her husband was an opiate addict and she had missed all the signs, and she found out that husband of hers was driving her children, couldn't be anything more important in her life, was driving them daily, completely fucked up, endangering their lives. I have to imagine a great majority of those women would give their husband a chance to go to treatment and fix that.
Yep.
And I think it's such a frailness of all of our own ego that if my wife turned out to have a sex addiction, that I wouldn't extend to her the exact same willingness to get better as I would if she was a gambling addict. Because if your husband was a gambling addict and he gambled away your home and you now were on the streets and you jeopardized the safety of your children, what could be more paramount than that?
That's right.
Yet if your husband got a hand job in Tokyo, let's blow this whole fucking thing up. Or your wife got it. You know, I don't want to.
But let me tell you why that's that can be a great explanation. But of course, primary, it explodes the intimacy, right? It explodes the intimacy. It explodes the trust and the feeling of safety that you need for intimacies. And that's very shattering.
Yeah.
And the codependent of a sex addict, by their nature, has got a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Somebody that would be attracted to this, back to this attraction conversation.
Yeah.
Somebody would be attracted to somebody who's prone to sex addiction needs to do some work. And they're very fragile on many levels oftentimes.
I would imagine that's ultimately true. I look at it from an AA perspective, which is the reason that can't be overlooked is that them being addicted to opiates does not trigger one of our deepest fears. No spouse is going, I wasn't enough of a spouse to keep you
from being an
opiate addict.
Yeah.
I wasn't enough of a spouse to keep you from being a gambling addict. But our biggest fear as humans is that we wouldn't be attractive. You know, it's so deep.
You know what?
Attraction, it's mating.
It's a little more of a man thing. It's a male thing that we put sex and attraction in the same category.
Well, I think let's just say we all have a deep biological component to mate.
Yes.
That's eating, shelter, mate.
But the mating thing is about safety and about, it's all kinds of things that way, way deep. That when it's shattered, it makes you crazy.
It does make you crazy, but I do think you can trace back to people's oversized reactions to it triggering fears in them.
Most partners of sex addicts stay in the relationship.
Oh, really?
That's of those in treatment. The majority of the ones in treatment, like 70%.
Okay, so but they got to treatment still in a relationship.
Yes,
I feel like a lot of people were probably weeded out before that
yes.
statistic.
And, right,
takes
and a
off.
lot of people, blow the relationship out.
But I asked this really. So we were
in
talking
in a weird way. That partner may be healthier. That just I can't stand this.
Right.
In a weird way. And I wouldn't advise it. I wouldn't advise it. I'd like them to hang in and work it through.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
And I'm not even advising someone stay with a sex addict.
Yeah.
But this. I'm obsessed with this topic all the time because I just think sex is so triggering for people. Yeah. And I asked this question to a group of people that are at our house. And
at your house?
At our house.
This is dinner conversation.
Yeah,
sometimes I got to go to a dinner party at your house. This should be good.
You must. I said, here's your choice. You find out that your spouse drove the car. They would have blown a .20.
Okay.
They are fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
They drove your kids at .20.
Okay.
Or they had oral sex with someone else. What's your choice? You have to pick between those two things.
Yeah.
And unanimously, they all picked, I'd rather have them drive my kids drunk.
Wow. That's telling.
I mean, they were in a very safe environment. They wouldn't have said that in an interview. But in our house,
I understand
that choice. They admitted they would rather
have
had that happen than be cheated on.
Maybe they don't.
And I just think that's incredibly telling about how important all that is to us.
Or a lack of understanding how dangerous driving drunk is.
I think even when they understand how dangerous that is, if they're being dead honest, they'd rather find out that happened than that their partner cheated on them. And I would prefer that Kristen cheated on me than drive our kids at .20.
I'm kind of with you.
But it's hard. And it shouldn't be hard.
Well,
that's my point. That's how outsized our fear is over this
Either
topic.
that or we have thought something through, you and I, that others don't normally do. Maybe we have realistic views of our spouses or something.
High likelihood your kids are going to get very hurt in this scenario.
But why are we different? That's what we got to figure out.
Why are
we having a different reaction? Because if that's the typical reaction, that's the typical reaction.
Yes.
Why are we different? Why are we having something a little different? And I'm wondering if it's because
we're overly confident in our relationships.
No. I think it's the therapy and the work and because it makes you realistically accept human beings, right?
Yes.
And you have to realistically accept your spouse, and failings are part of that. But endangering children is not really a failing.
To me, that's a non-starter.
That's a criminal behavior.
No matter what option you give me after that, I'm probably going to pick it.
Yeah.
But I also very much understand why it was kind of unanimous.
Yeah, I get. No, I understand the feeling. I get totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think there's a whole world of inquiry that's not happening for whatever reason, and
because they've been to your dinner parties. They've these questions and everybody running out the back door. Like, Jesus, shut Dax up.
I find out a lot. Oh, maybe I could ask you this. I find out a lot of. These are very informal studies I'm doing, but you'll like this one. So Chris and I were doing a movie together. The costumer came into her trailer, and she was talking about cleaning up the boys. There were a bunch of boys on the movie, and they're just cleaning up their boxer shorts that they were wearing in the movies. And I said something like, how many of them have shit streaks in them, right? And she said, very high amount. And I was like, oh my God, that's so pathetic. Why on earth are these guys, they can't wipe their butt? What is going on, right? This led to a conversation where Chris and I were talking about how often do you poop your pants? And I said, it happens to me once every year and a half or something, right? And she goes, that's insane. She goes, that's insane, right? She goes, I've never pooped my pants. And I go, okay. Right after that movie wrap, we went to Michigan. We go camping with like 40 of my friends. We're all around this huge campfire. And I tell them about this conversation. I go, look, man, I poop my pants once a year and a half. And then we go around the whole campfire. And every single guy was like, yeah, once a year, twice a year, whatever. They get to this guy who's in town from Germany. He's an engineer. He goes, I would like to say never, but twice times per year. And what we found at the end of this is all the guys had experienced pooping their pants. None of the women had. But then Kristen said, how often do you pee your pants? Go around the circle.
Oh, well, that's a different system.
Every woman has peed their pants within a year. No guy pees their pants.
We have a more ironclad mechanism down there.
Yeah, but it is very interesting.
Women are
right?
handicapped. They're handicapped down there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a much shorter distance, much easier thing. It happens much more commonly. And if you've ever had delivered a baby, you're going to be doing that all the time.
Right. But who would have thought there was some kind of sexual indicator of those two things? It's just bizarre.
It is weird. But Yeah, I poop my pants.
So women have an excuse for the pink, but men do not have an excuse.
No,
for
I
the
know.
That we
pink.
know of
But
yet.
it's
There
always
has to be an
is it not
explanation.
always is it not always the case when that happens? You're going to fart and you have diarrhea.
Well,
Is it not always
well,
the
that's
case?
one of the theories Chris and I have come to is that men are just innately more cocky. Like they'll test it and like, this could be
is what it
diarrhea,
is.
but I'm going to see. And then, oh boy, I was wrong.
exactly right.
So it's like an arrogance to male, maybe driven by testosterone.
willingness to pass gas and wherever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the
Because
bottom
it's
line.
probably all wired into like our daredevil tribalism.
It's so good. But
Risky
is it not the
behavior.
case? Is that not the way it happens? That's how it
Yes,
happens.
yes.
That's how it happens.
You're like, I think. Well, I'm just gonna test.
Either we get diarrhea more often,
Yeah.
and B, we
Our
are
diet's
willing to
probably
pass gas
worse.
more often, and that's that.
Yes. Okay. Great. The last thing I kind of want to ask you about
Oh,
is you've had a very public career as a doctor, and throughout you got on the radio how long ago? 25 years ago?
Oh,
or
please,
something?
1983.
1983. So
I'm still a medical student.
oh wow. So I'm going to quickly do the math, Monica.
37
You haven't
years.
done it yet?
36 years.
That's
35
not very
years.
fast.
But anyway,
You've had this very public life, and when have you blundered? What are some moments that you had that were
lots
hard
of
to
blunders.
get through? That like
well, I remember one time, just what occurs to me as you mention it, I have panic attacks.
you do,
Yeah. And
because you said you had trauma and you're not an addict, so
Yeah.
I assume work was a way for you.
work was
So-
out. Work was one of the mechanisms, but I had depression and panic attacks, anxiety, stuff like that.
Okay.
It's all way better from therapy. And but there was
You also exercise a lot, right? I think that's important
yeah, it's
to
a little
tell
bit of a
people.
crazy thing too.
Okay.
I think I have like a little exercise bulimia or something.
Okay,
you know.
good.
But I get a lot. I listen to all the podcasts when I'm working. It's my study. It's really important, good for me.
Yeah.
The thing that occurs to me is I was on the Today Show. I used to do it a lot, and I'd not slept, and I was when I was talking
You'd flown
about
to
some-
New York and
flown to New York, and I just gotten there 7 hours before. I'm sorry, 4 hours before, and it was like 3 a.m. U.S. time, California time, and
Yeah.
I'm doing something, and Matt Lauer's interviewing me on a topic that I probably was not that into, and I remember I started having a panic attack, and so I started blocking, and I started like not making sense. And Matt Lauer leaned into me, like looking like, "Are you okay?" And I thought, "Oh man, I got to get it together." And I just sort of powered through.
Oh,
and
wow.
but that was a moment where I was like, "Oh, you're live on national television having a panic attack, and it could get it can get out of hand."
Yeah.
You can say all of a sudden have to go.
You think you're having a heart attack, right?
No, I know my panic attack. My panic attacks are psychological in nature. I just feel like it's imagine you're drowning at sea, even though you know you're not at sea. Just that you can't find a way to get.
You
just
can't
keep
find
sinking,
purchase on anything.
and I block. My thinking stops. That's the biggest problem for me. I block in my thinking.
Have you
And
ever
so-
tried beta blockers?
I know because I need full faculties when I go into battle.
Do beta
I'm always
blockers
afraid-
affect that?
I've never tried it, but I always fear that anything that's in any way mind altering is going to affect my ability to. Because I'm needing everything I've got to express myself.
Yeah,
And-
I've never personally done a beta blocker, but my wife is a proponent of them as a singer who sings in front of large
Yeah,
audiences, and
yeah.
like concert musicians.
Yeah,
often
no,
take
it's
them from-
listen, it's a non-problem. It's an easy one, and
Yeah.
maybe I'll do it one day. But I don't have them right now. My panic and stuff. One day it will happen.
Right.
right when I least expect it.
And do you think that that was the result of being tired? Or did
Tired
you
and
also
coffee
have-
and blah 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 whatever. I don't. Who knows what else?
And did
I
you
was
have
doing.
fear over talking with Matt Lauer?
Yeah,
about-
fear and anxiety. And again, the reason I say it's a topic that I didn't really care about because people push me to talk about things that I'm like,
Do they
I don't really have
mostly-
much to say. And
do
like,
they want
it's
you
not
to
my
c-
area of expertise? And like, come on,
Right.
And they just, oh no, we need you to do it. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and do they want you to generally comment as a physician on someone in the public eye that's
Yeah.
going through something?
Yes,
be it
that's
addiction
typical.
or
That is typical of the thing, or somebody died or something, and it's like, or a parenting thing, a lot of parenting stuff because I talked with adolescents for so many years, and things that are like, this is not really a topic, or I don't really know about it. Like, but okay, I'll do the research and I'll do the best I can.
Yeah. And how do you, like, when you feel it? Because I'm now on the other side of a lot of those triggers for me.
Yeah, me
like
too.
when I was first with Kristen, my insecurity and self-loathing was if I was on a talk show and they want to talk about her, my thought was, oh, they're not even interested in me. They just want to talk about her.
Right.
And so I couldn't help but be defensive about that or try to read her, stupid. Now I don't feel that way at all. And love to talk. And I also started noticing everyone when she's on a talk show asks her about, it's just like, it's like talking to your grandparents. They don't want to, they just ask you how your brother's doing. They don't ever ask you what you're doing. But yeah, that feeling of going like, oh fuck, here they go again. They want me to do this trick.
Yes.
And yeah,
a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of that. Like when Bourdain.
Do you have like moral? Does it feel amoral?
No, it doesn't. But because I always think of it as, well, if I really don't understand the topic, oh yes. But if it's something where it's like, yeah, there's something to be learned here, I should really make the effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's sad, like with Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, everyone wants me to talk about
like,
suicide. And then it's like, oh, here's the guy
about that topic.
I know a lot about suicide, but none of these cases are exemplary. They're all very different. I mean, think of Bourdain, heroin addict, drinking. I mean,
yeah,
very different situation.
I was always impressed by that. I had read Kitchen Confidential. I absolutely loved it. I never watched the show, but I'd see it advertised all the time, and I was like, oh, that's cool. He can drink. He's an ex-junkie, but he can drink. Okay, that's impressive.
Now I'd like you to think about that realistically.
Well, look, I'm not one of these people in AA that's like thinks my
no. Good for him is my thing. But
like, I know people, like some people smoke pot who consider themselves sober.
But here's the deal.
I'm not here to say I can't. All I know is I can't.
I talked to Anthony 15 years ago. Okay, he's in danger.
Okay, all right.
Now I don't know how it was going to go bad, but I knew it was going to go bad.
Yeah, it's dicey.
You can't do that. I mean, you can do it for a while, but it always goes bad. It always goes bad. If you're an opiate addict and you're drinking, please.
But I do think the thing that, and again, I know next to nothing about the Bourdain thing, other than I saw his commercials and he seemed to be a guy living a fantasy, and I was happy for him.
Yes, me too.
Like I just had this great feeling about that.
Yes,
that
and with people.
Yes,
I think that's
communal.
why. I think that's how he kept it together so long. He made it about other people, and that will keep you going for a while.
Right.
But inevitably, the biology kind of unravels.
But I did find, because I can be very cold to people on the outside when people in our group OD. Because I have this weird thing because I'm sober is like, yeah, that's what happens. It's
that's
not
this condition.
Shocking to me. And of course that's what happens.
Yes, that's this condition. Yeah.
And it sounds kind of dispassionate.
No. It's like,
but it's like you're in war.
It's like cancer. It's like if you were working with a bunch of cancer patients, somebody died of cancer, you go,
that's what happens.
Cancer patient. Yeah.
Right. And it kind of sounds cold to people. But I will say that this Bourdain thing, I found myself feeling sadder about it than I have in the past when I've heard about people who have killed themselves. And I do think it speaks a lot to the condition of depression because it's so scary to think someone could have everything they would want.
Yeah, that's what people are commenting on. Again,
but I like that. That's a great that could be more helpful for depression than any other thing.
Absolutely.
When someone's 800 pounds overweight and they're living on the streets, it doesn't scare anyone.
The one that still hangs over most of us was really a depression story was Chester Bennington.
I don't know Chester
from Lincoln Park.
Oh,
very sad. That is just
yeah.
I mean, that was recalcitrant depression for a guy in long-term recovery going well in recovery.
Oh yeah, it's so terrifying. Yeah. I just had my mother on here, which was so wonderful, and she had 2 different bouts, suicide attempts at different times. One when you would expect it, like everything was going wrong, 3 kids, can't support them, all this stuff. But way more importantly and informative was one was at the height of everything in her life. Kids are succeeding at everything she'd hoped they'd succeed at. Her business is thriving and her marriage is perfect. And just fucking rock bottom out of nowhere, which to me is such a good indicator that is so much biochemical.
Is she bipolar?
She's not bipolar, or at least she's not been given that diagnosis. She had never been medicated up until that second time. Since then, she's totally fine. I mean, she's not totally fine. She has a great game plan now, and she's medicated, and now nothing. But to me, that is a more informative scenario. Than the person that we can write off as just having been a failure or something.
Or in misery or pain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a brain thing. It's a brain disorder. And we get disorders of the brain just we get disorders of the heart and disorders of the knee.
Yeah.
No different. And we shouldn't treat it any differently.
And do you know the whole history of the DSM and why that even came about and how there was I just remember fascinating.
I don't know the details. I know psychiatry is always trying to make itself medicalized. It's always trying to make it,
Yeah, there was this guy who was a prankster. He was like an English guy who would debunk things. I forget his name, but he came to the U.S. and he had an experiment where he had 10 colleagues go check into psych wards, and all they could say was I hear a thump in my head. And then beyond that, they had to tell the truth. And then all 10 people were admitted to these psych wards, and they were given a litany of different diagnoses. And then this became an expose, and it caused the whole psychiatric community to go, okay, we need some kind of standardized thing. And it kind of created the DSM came out of that.
If you should read the DSM-2 and the DSM-3, they're hysterical.
Oh, really? Because they're so, yeah. I think that's part of the reason people have a hard time buying into psychology in general is that there's been a lot of bad psychology, right?
There's been a lot of terrible psychiatry.
It's a hard thing to.
I've got a picture of how they used to do frontal lobotomies in here. I used to take care of those patients, years later. Disastrous.
Yeah. So when the DSM actually came out and was standardized and they started giving it to people, what they found, if I have my history correct, is that mental illness is probably pandemic. That was the conclusion. Which
meaning universal or
affecting a majority of us in this country.
Okay.
And I kind of agree with that.
Well, that's true. But then we have
right?
Yes, it's true that symptomatology affects the majority of us. The question, when do you want to call it an illness?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But my broad question for you is, let's assume for a second that the majority of us have some kind of mental.
Yeah, it's 60%.
We're all sitting in a room right now.
Literally a majority.
Yeah, I'm owning my addiction stuff.
Yeah.
You're saying you have panic attacks. Monica, you had a spell where you thought you had anxiety.
Yeah,
And
lots of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I don't hear that any different, though. In my mind is going, well, a lot of us had the flu. Pretty much everybody here has had the flu.
Yes.
Or there's been a lot of appendicitis in this, yes,
but
part of the human experience includes this brain thing that does some weird stuff to us.
Yes. So my broader question is, are we as a species with mental illness?
Yes.
Or did we live in a certain way and that we've stopped living in a certain way and that has given this great rise in it? And I have kind of a little armchair theory on it.
Okay. I'm certain both.
Okay.
And I'm certain that some of it is also
I was peppering seeds throughout this.
Yes, I got it.
In this,
yes.
You're going to see it.
Have an awareness of it and an ability to identify it and give it a name and to understand it as a feature of our brain's function that may be misfiring in the moment. Now,
or we got super smart and here. Sorry, there's a byproduct of that.
Right. And we may be pathologizing things that always in the past was never pathologized or never barely even noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. If I had to worry all day about hunting mammoths, it'd be hard to have the panic attacks we experience very differently.
Right.
Very differently.
And here's where my theory comes in is that I believe that
by the way, we'd both be dead now too.
Oh, sure,
we wouldn't have lived this long.
Well, I would have
if we made it through childhood, which would be very unlikely.
I would have challenged a 23-year-old to a fight, so I had access to a female, and I would have been killed by a strong. I know exactly how I would have gone out because And
by the way, back then, just a single sword wound somewhere would have been it because it would have gotten infected, and that's over.
That's right.
Now, you don't have to get run through.
We're forgetting the fact that I would have died of asthma as a kid, anyways. We wouldn't even made it to that point, but let's just say I made it. My theory, though, is that, having studied anthro, for 99% of the time we've been on this planet, we were hunting and gathering, and we had a very labor-intensive lifestyle, and we had all this physical activity, and that physical activity is rewarded with endorphins.
Yeah,
and our biochemistry was much different.
Yes, and proper sleep
when we lived that way.
Yes.
And so you mentioned that you have to work out. I have to work out. I don't think we're doing a good enough job letting people in America know, not just for your vanity, although great motivator for me. Physical activity is really, I think, essential for our mental health.
Agreed.
And I don't see the program promoting that. I don't see. I see Eat Organic, and
talk to Robert Downey, man. That guy made a big point about that.
Okay,
he feels like he overemphasized that, in my opinion, in terms of how he was able to get through and finally into recovery. But good for him.
Yeah.
He talks about all kinds of spiritual and physical practices and things.
Yes.
And there are people that do it. They're always marginalized. I don't know why we do that.
Right.
But you're right. It should be at the core. And by the way, and now when you have podcasts and things you can listen to and be expanding while you're focusing on your exercise, I mean, to me, it's a perfect combo and a perfect time.
Yeah, I said on here that weirdly, if there was a single thing I hope my kids do by the time they graduate, forget an SAT score, any other habit. That one thing I'd hope is that they had a habit of exercising.
If you do it, they'll probably do it.
Well, I do it, and they come down there with me, and they watch cartoons while I lift weights, and then they occasionally lift them.
Perfect.
I'm hoping that'll
perfect. My gym's in my garage, and my sons at least still do. My daughter does too. blunders too.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
The one thing I was wondering, I was hoping maybe you would bring it up, but do you regret the Hillary thing?
Oh, that was a sort of a blunder. So let me explain what happened.
Yeah.
Well, sure, I regret it. That's to answer your question. But,
Okay.
but let me tell you what happened. So
I have to imagine just politically, my guess would have been your pick of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So you would never wish her any ill will.
no,
right?
but you got to hear what happened.
Okay.
What you think happened is not what happened.
Okay, great.
And
I know so little about what happened.
Yeah. So here's what happened. So I was on Don Lemon one night, and I did 10 or 15 minutes on Donald Trump's mental health. We talked about it. It was right in the beginning days. We were talking about hypomania and narcissism. But I would say, you don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Teddy Roosevelt was a narcissist and hypomanic. And we can't, hard for me to judge, but that's what this is, And I was just sort of being very agnostic about
What's
it.
the little rule that you're not allowed to diagnose someone who you've not studied? What's that
but
called?
the Goldwater rule. But most people are objecting to that now. I mean, it's because it's so easy to characterize what you're saying. You can't talk about psychological nuances, but I can characterize the way I can characterize a rash. You can kind of characterize it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying this is his diagnosis. I'm saying these are these kinds of things, and this is what they look like.
These are some red flags.
Yeah, and so I do a radio show in Los Angeles, and I went to the radio station next day, and my program director goes, "That was great. Would you do 30 seconds on that for the radio for our website?" I went, "Okay." So I sat down, I did 30 seconds on summarizing what I'd said on Don Lemon.
Yeah,
mind you, I was 15 minutes on CNN talking about Donald Trump.
Okay,
and as I was walking, I was getting up to get out of the chair. My program director at radio goes, "Why should probably do 30 seconds on Hillary too? Do you have something for her?" And I go, "You know what? They just released her medical records, and the care she's getting is shit. I would love to talk about that."
Yeah.
So I discussed her medical record that was released that day, and I was critical of the doctor's decisions and what they were doing in terms of her health care. So I was critical of the doctors.
Yes.
Drudge picked it up.
Oh.
And their headline was, "Finally, a physician is willing to take the position that Hillary's not fit for duty." Yeah. So, right.
You must have. What was your? Tell me about the sinking feeling.
It's a
in your
horrible
stomach.
feeling.
Yeah,
I've been in
walk me
so
through
many
that.
shitstorms like this in my life. I don't know why I get in them, but I get in them.
Yeah.
And so this was another one where I was like, "Oh my God, you've got to be." I just sort of think duck. That's my first note is just duck.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was trying to duck.
Yeah. Do you have a strategy now? Like just
Now?
Yeah.
At that point, at that moment?
Yeah, I'm just saying, having been through some of these before, do you
it
at
depends.
least
They're
go
all-
like,
they're all
I just
different.
need to ignore this for 28
it's
days?
so we live in such a weird world now. If you don't have people loving and hating, you don't exist.
Well, that's a good
If
point.
you're not in some kind of shitstorm, you don't exist. And so,
Right.
But so I was not yet schooled on that. So I was freaking out pretty good.
Yeah.
But in any event, I felt like I could duck and it will pass and no big deal. Well, the CNN brass started calling
Oh, boy.
and came down hard.
Oh, boy.
And how dare you and this kind of stuff. And they didn't want to hear it. And I said, fine. I trust me. I'm not
Because you
gonna-
had a show at that time
at
on
HLN.
Uh-huh.
But we had already decided a month earlier to end the show.
Oh, really?
We decided a month earlier.
Okay.
This had nothing to do with me ending the show.
Right.
3 weeks later, we ended the show. And the whole world went, aha, see?
Oh,
They kicked him off the air because of what he said about Hillary.
Okay.
So none of it is what you thought it was.
Right. I don't even know that I thought
I still
all that
regret
about
it. I still
Yeah,
regret
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But it was, and I still stand by my evaluation of the physicians. And in fact, they responded to everything I said as though they were interrogatories, and they changed their treatment a little bit.
Oh,
And they
really?
got some evaluations that I thought she needed. They did it.
Yeah.
Good. And so,
And it was it the thing that you thought maybe it was just like doctors she had forever entrusted and they just hadn't
it's the
stayed
typical
abreast of
thing.
things?
You have to watch out for this. Celebrities get horrible health care. Doctors that get turned on by taking care of whomever in the public, disaster. They have to not care. They have to treat you nobody different.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're all the same. You get the standard of care. The standard is the best. That's why it's the standard. Nothing special. As soon as somebody starts giving you special attention or special care, watch out.
Right.
When my prostate cancer was diagnosed, I thought they were doing that to me. And I was like, I'll come back in 6 months, get retested. Don't worry. It's me. I know it's me. I know it breaks your anxiety.
Yeah.
You identify with me as a doctor. It's me. Don't. Just do what you normally do. And they go, this is what we normally do. And I'm like, God damn it. And so I ended up with a biopsy, pissed. And then with diagnosis, they did exactly the right thing. They used their judgment properly. Our judgment as physicians, it's honed in a certain emotional, interpersonal context. And when we step out of that, take care of our family, take care of ourselves, our judgment doesn't work.
It goes
take
out the
care of a
window.
special person or think that's a special person.
Yeah.
We're not using our judgment.
Are you
right.
saying Elvis's doctor wasn't a great
I'm
doctor?
saying he was not. I'm saying he was not.
So when you're in one of those storms,
Yeah.
is your is your natural thing to do. I'm hoping we can bond on this. Do you go home and just talk like a 4-year-old to your wife, and then you eventually have to police yourself and go, Jesus, my wife does not want to fucking hear about this anymore, and I'm being a narcissist. And
Sometimes it depends on the thing. I try not to bring it home, but there's times.
but that's why you have a partner at the same time.
What happens to me when I start verbalizing too much? That drives her crazy. When I can't stop talking about something,
Yes.
I know that's silly, and that makes her crazy. It makes me crazy.
Yeah.
So I try not to do that one.
And you have to recognize, or I try to recognize, I'm just being a narcissist. Like I have this whole thing where the world thinks A about me or B about me. It has nothing to do with our life in this house or our children or our friends. It's all because think
I'll
about
tell you
it.
the shitstorms I get very threatening, dude, because then they threaten to call my professional societies, and I'm off to Philadelphia to stand trial. I mean, there's crazy stuff that can happen to physicians. You don't know.
Yes, and that is the logical defense of it. But that's the part I would say is bullshit. Like so what we'll tell ourselves is
No, I've had that stuff happen.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
But when I've done something where I feel like I'm under attack and a lot of people have some certain opinion of me, I'm making a logical case
Ooh, I
this
got another blunder for you.
Oh, great.
But go ahead, finish up.
So I'm building a logical case of why it's appropriate for me to feel this way, right? But in doing that, I'm failing to stop and say, all these people whose opinion I think I'm concerned about, none of them are my friends.
Yeah.
Not one of my friends has this opinion of me.
Right.
Not one of my family members has this opinion about me. My wife doesn't, and my kids don't. So what really is going on?
Yeah.
I am prioritizing people's opinions who I don't even know.
That's the vast majority of these kinds of things.
Yes. And that's actually my narcissism, who's actually concerned that the greater world loves me.
Yes.
And that's just wrong.
Absolutely.
And I need
100%.
to police myself about
100%.
that. Right?
Here's a blunder. Ready for a blunder?
Yeah.
In 1997, 21 years ago, I accepted a fee from a drug company to do a 2-year campaign to raise awareness of the side effect of antidepressants.
Oh.
But and it was before anyone knew about the sexual side effects, I knew about them.
Okay.
And people's lives were being destroyed by it. So I went on a campaign and I did lectures. I was
You
most
seemed
of my
anti-SSRI inhibitor or something?
Yes. And, well, at least awareness about it. The company that funded me had Wellbutrin. Okay. And of course they had their position was, well, our drug doesn't do that. I was like, okay, well, I don't care. I'm going to go educate about all this stuff. I wrote a book on it. Had multiple psychiatrists and people that toured with me and stuff.
Yeah.
The company got caught in a $1 billion federal lawsuit for advocating off-label use of their drugs. That was their lawsuit.
Okay.
They found a radio interview with me where I said I was going to these SSRIs, they cause sexual dysfunction, and the radio interview said, well, what do you do in practice? I said, what do I do in practice? In my practice, what do I do? Well, I switch into Wellbutrin or Cerazone or Remeron, which I did, or sometimes I'll add Wellbutrin to the SSRI, which I did. I'm entitled to say that.
Yeah.
That's my practice.
Right.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I forgot to say, oh, by the way, I'm the Wellbutrin company. They're funding this campaign that I'm on. I just left it off the interview.
You didn't
I just didn't disclose in the interview. I assumed it had been disclosed, I guess. I just didn't remember to disclose it when I was saying that.
Yeah.
Huge blunder.
It made you look like a shill for
Exactly.
Butrin.
And to this day, people will bring that up from 22 years ago.
Really? Well, even hearing that though, your overall message that we shouldn't do SSRI.
Yes, I was.
Are you anti? Are you still anti?
I am generally the anti-medication guy. Generally.
Oh, I didn't know this about you.
Well, generally, I mean, I think there's way over. The certainly the benzo opiate thing. I'm way against.
Yes.
I think there is a tendency not to be willing to move through ordinary misery that everything. I'm very concerned about primary care physicians prescribing this stuff.
Right.
Trust me, they don't have the training.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
I worked in a psychiatric hospital for 25 years. And the first thing I noticed when I got there was like, oh man, I thought I understand psychiatry. I do not. 10 years in, I thought, probably I know enough now. 10 years of working there that I could really be a decent prescriber, but I would not. I sent it all to an expert, to a psychiatrist. And the vast majority of SSRIs are prescribed by primary care guys that don't have the training. They just don't.
Right.
So I'm concerned about it. I'm also concerned about people getting left on them and not getting adequate psychotherapy. I have very concerns about it all over the place.
Yeah.
And at that point, no one, the companies were denying that they caused the sexual side effects, and relationships were getting destroyed all over the place.
Yeah.
And so that was what I felt good about that campaign And by the way, back then it was a whole different world. You routinely worked with drug companies. That's what you did.
Right.
They were sort of seen as allies in the fight.
So then did you just have to make the unilateral decision, like, I'm just never going to be in bed in any capacity?
No, never. I will do supplements sometimes when they really look good. And just kind of like, if I think like if something I'm going to take and somebody wants me to help them with that, if I'm taking it, I'm willing to say I'm taking it. Sure.
Right.
But I know nothing with pharmaceutical companies. Zero. Nothing since.
So you do have a ton of, is this from doing Loveline that you had to become super knowledgeable about sex?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of that, right?
Every night we talked about it.
Because when I was on, you would never remember this, but the time I did Loveline, there was a caller. And the weird thing about doing Loveline that people probably wouldn't imagine is the problem is I'm a comedian. So I go there and I want to be funny on your show Loveline. And I have to keep reminding myself, these are real human beings calling with real problems. And I'm like regularly trying to avoid making a joke, right? And that subsides and I'm really listening. And this was the call that came in and I couldn't believe what you said.
Uh-oh.
This woman called and she said, yes, Dr. Drew, I have a girlfriend and I love her a lot. And we still are very connected and everything. And I just, we stopped having sex about 3 months ago and I'm just a little concerned. And you said, okay, so you've been with your partner. You stopped having sex 3 months ago. So I'm going to say, have you guys been together 6 months?
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, yes, that's exactly right. We've been together 6 months. How did you know? And you said,
this is a female?
Female
Oh, yeah,
relationship.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you go, well, you are
Yeah.
in the pattern that many lesbian
Yeah.
relationships fall
That's
into,
right.
that once all the oxytocin and fun
Yeah.
stuff wears off of falling in love, there's no testosterone in the relationship to drive the sex life. And I was so blown away that you
it actually developed it actually developed a term. It's called lesbian
Bed death.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people will object to that in the strongest terms, but we
Sure.
were hearing about it all the time. That's just the pattern. It just was there. There it was.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I wonder now, would you be as readily to give out that same? By the way, you're stating something that you've observed factually many times.
Yeah.
There's
by the
no
way,
judgment behind it.
And
You're not saying so. Therefore, you guys shouldn't be in a relationship, and you need testosterone.
No, I said
Right.
what I say is you need to pay attention to sex
But
because it's important,
I
and
can
you don't have
see-
the drive. There's no drive there for it necessarily,
Well,
and you
for-
should miss it. And it's an important part of intimacy, and you got
Yeah.
to push it. You
And what's
make it
the
a priority.
solution? You got to
Make it a
schedule it.
Yeah, pay attention, make it a priority. It's interesting.
Would you feel as comfortable today saying that?
I wouldn't jump to it today because since
It could
those
be-
days, I know exactly when you're talking about.
Yeah.
Lesbians, I don't know, gay relationships with women seem to have prioritized sex a little more. I hear a lot more about,
like it's
quality.
evolved.
Well, I don't know. Who knows why? Because I'm not there with them, but there's much more
Commitment to
engaged,
that.
satisfying, persistent sexual contact than back in those days.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because
I don't know
ever
why.
since I did that,
Yeah.
that episode of Loveline with
Yeah.
you, over the years as we've had lesbian friends, I always bring that up. Like, oh, I was doing Loveline and they said this. Did you? And they would go, oh yeah, lesbian bed death.
Right.
And
But
they,
not us.
right. But I
don't know why 6 months too. It's a weird number, but we kept hearing that number 6 months.
Yeah. And I wonder now, would you be nervous to say it because you feel like it could be weaponized, or just now?
Oh, I worry about everything being weaponized.
Yeah.
I worry about everything we've talked about here being weaponized.
Yeah. But you
'cause
just got to say fuck it, right?
I have
It's
to
gonna
be
get-
honest, just be
Yeah.
truthful and forthright. And when it comes to observation about human behavior, I cannot divert from the facts. It just is what it is.
Right.
If people want to weaponize it or the way to, I always want my mind to be expanded and changed. So if people want to give me alternative data or explain why the data I'm seeing is the way it is, please bring it. I'm delighted.
Yeah.
You don't have to weaponize it.
Well, I've gotten so much pleasure out of since meeting you that very first time when you said that comment, and it stuck with me, and I remember it to this day, and it's spurred on a lot a lot of these conversations I have at my house.
And one thing I know for sure is I do not want to go to a dinner party with Doug Shepard. It sounds very scary. It sounds very frightening.
No,
Is it
you'd
a
love
scary?
it.
Is
You'd
it a
love
scary
it.
experience?
No, I like it because
it's fun.
nothing's being written down or recorded. So because I will
It's
say
10
that
times worse than this
10
conversation.
times
times
worse.
worse. It's 10
Like I
times
said, I'm not sure I want to go to a dinner party, but it does intrigue me. I sort of feel like I tantalized.
Well, this is the one thing Sam talks about a lot, and I totally agree with, which is what's eroded in academia is that through discourse is how we make discoveries. So we have to have opposing viewpoints.
Socrates, for God's sake.
It's required that people go too far, then retract, then see the error in their ways. But we have to have the latitude to go too far to come back.
The only corrective mechanism we have.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're going way one way or way the other, and it doesn't stop.
Without it, there is no forward movement. But anyways, Dr. Drew, I love you. I love that I get paired with you on this prostate cancer.
I know,
thing.
I love that too.
It's a great excuse for us to see each other.
Yes.
And then these podcasts are an excuse.
Yes.
And
dinner party is the next excuse.
yes, absolutely.
Although I will come with my beta blocker.
Yes,
that's when I'll experiment with beta blockers.
Go old school and bring the lunch sack that you just breathe into.
The brown paper bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming by
Privilege.
The Addict, and I hope to talk to you again on here soon.
All right. See you.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Let me see here.
Any requests?
Oh, I have so many requests. They're piling up.
Oh, wow.
They are piling up. All right, you ready? My anaconda don't want none unless you got facts, hun. You can do side bends or sit-ups, but please don't leave those facts. Baby got facts.
Oh, that was great.
Was it? I think I might have collapsed two different.
Well, that's okay. Can't be perfect.
I haven't heard the song in 25 years.
Well, you did. Yeah, I think you pulled something
yeah,
from the chorus. You moved it up. It's still good.
Baby got facts. Someone wanted to hear that.
I love that.
Another one.
I love these requests.
Yeah, the requests are really fun. Okay, you ready for this one?
Oh, you're doing more.
Okay, I'm going to do
All
a bonus one. You
okay.
ready?
Okay.
Ain't nothing but a fact checker.
Oh.
Checking all the time. Ain't nothing but a fact checker. I'm checking all the time. Well, you ain't never called me lying, but you're still a soulmate of mine.
Oh, I
even
like
screwed
that.
up the rhythm there at the end.
No,
did it
was
stay on
good.
song? Ain't nothing but a fact checker. I'm checking all the time. All right, well, that was another one.
Good job.
2 for 1. Oh my goodness! Here's another screen grab. Someone.
Well, we have a lot of
I know. I just want to let you know there are 7 suggestions in this one.
Wow.
Tweet. Okay, good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. All right. Dr. Drew Pinsky.
It's so interesting when a doctor gets known by their first name. Dr. Drew.
Very rare.
Very rare. Very
Yeah.
something air.
Air.
Yeah, you say like
Debonair.
no, that's also accurate, but in thin air, in fine air, in
Oh,
you know
I
what I'm saying?
sort of know what you're saying.
Yeah. So you're up really high.
I see.
Yeah. Okay.
My head itches. Okay.
Oh, you got a little bit of a head itch?
A
Do you have
lice?
dander?
Ugh, I hope not.
You might need to use a Head and Shoulders or a Neutrogena T gel.
No, thank you. I use
Selsun Blue?
nope. I use I think it's called Living Proof.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it's called. It's
Just
a
got
nice
really
shampoo.
nervous that we have a shampoo.
Oh,
I don't think
we
do.
don't.
We don't.
But we're open to Living Proof
Or Selsun Blue
or Head and Shoulders, I guess.
or Neutrogena T gel. Any of the many great cleansing products.
My first real commercial was a hair product.
Well, yeah, where you played a mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm with you. I
Sometimes you
posted
forget
photos of you.
stuff.
You're right.
so it was shampoo.
Herbal essence. Yeah. Your hair was luxurious. Your hair,
Mm-hmm.
thick, flowing.
I wonder if I can say that I had extensions in.
Well, you can now. The terms of the
Statute of
endorsement
limitations is up?
Yeah. I was gonna say your hair. You already have crazy thick hair.
I do.
and they put even more in there.
Yes, and they dyed it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was the first, and that was the first and only time I've ever had my hair dyed. I was a little bit, I didn't really want to do it.
Well, it probably felt like peer pressure. You know
I
how you
had
feel
to.
about peer pressure.
Yeah, but I did it this time. I let myself get peer pressure.
And did you love it?
No, it was the same color. I think they were just like giving it a shine or something.
Trying to get all the gray out.
Yeah. I do have some gray, so that's sensitive.
I'm gonna wash that gray right out of my hair. Do you know that jingle?
Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna wash
Why
that
do I?
gray right out of my hair.
What's it for?
Can't remember the product, but I do remember the song.
Isn't that so sad that sounds like all I'm talking about is all my commercials. I'll probably cut it out.
That's okay. We like to hear about your commercials. Everyone's tweeting me every 5 seconds about you and that Geico commercial.
Yeah.
I've gotten more updates on when and what channel you're on over the last 2 weeks.
Well, my parents texted me.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Were they watching football?
I don't know what they were watching. Probably not.
Are you ready for some football?
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes you you just can't help yourself. It's in the middle of people's sentences.
You're right. It's an impulse control issue. What a song, though. Do you remember that one?
No.
They've gotten rid of it. I think it was Hank Williams Jr. And it was, are you ready for some football? And it was like, how simple could you make it? They're like, listen, total discretion, creative freedom, go crazy, whatever you want to say, and just, are you ready for some football?
And it was almost too much create. It was like too much of an open space.
Maybe it was some boundaries, but yeah, are you ready for some football?
Oh, I never finished my point. I did a car commercial, and it was for Volkswagen, and everyone came up to me and was like, "Oh, you were in that Honda commercial?" Everyone thought it was Honda, and I was like, "That's not a very good commercial because no one can even remember the product."
Right. I remember having a marketing class in high school, and the guy said, "Okay, who remembers Where's the Beef?" Which is the most popular commercial from my childhood.
I even know it.
I knew it was Wendy's for whatever reason.
did.
But 90% of the class didn't know what burger chain it was from.
Wow. And did you love being the person who knew?
Absolutely. I'm a know-it-all.
I know. I know.
Loved it.
I would have loved that too. But I wouldn't have known.
Right.
So I would have been mad at you.
Well, he was smart not enough to not just let people call it out. You had to raise your hand because he didn't call on me.
Yikes. Okay. So you said we've been studying psychology as a discipline for 100 years. Psychology was a branch of the domain of philosophy until the 1870s, when it developed as an independent scientific discipline in Germany and the United States. Psychology is a self-conscious field of experimental study which began in 1879 in a part of Germany that I can't pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try? Leipzig. Leipzig?
Leipzig.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that sounds right.
Sure.
Yeah. So I was off by 50 years, sounds like.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Well, now you know.
Now I'll always know.
Now you'll say 1870s.
The second someone brings up psychology.
They will.
And then they'll go, no, Dax, no one asked what year it became its own
And
discipline.
you'll say, who cares? Where's the beef?
Wendy's. They got the beef.
Um,
They got the beef.
Oh, boy.
Everybody jumping. They got the beef. They got the beef. Do you recognize that song?
no.
That's the Go-Go's. They got the beef.
The beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very musical.
It's the
fact.
guy, yeah.
The Malcolm Gladwell book with the baseball is Blink.
Blink.
Yes. So people can check out Blink if you haven't already.
It's a great
We
book.
Bring it up all the time.
Sure do. All those Gladwell books. Can't talk about them enough.
You love them.
I'm surprised no one has done They Got the Beef for an ad campaign for a burger stand.
It's probably expensive.
I don't think so.
You don't?
You barely remembered the song.
No,
They got the
I
beef.
did. I knew the song. I thought maybe you were saying it all wrong.
Well, I was intentionally.
That's true.
They got the beef.
We talk a little bit about rate of divorce for autistic kids.
Parents of autistic kids.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think many autistic kids are wedding to begin with.
Well, they do.
Kids.
Well, on the playground, we don't know what's going
those
on.
all end in divorce. Playground weddings?
Your daughter I think she got married on
Many
the playground.
times. Yeah. Twice in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's right. Then I married her on Friday.
You did?
Yeah, she had a ring, and I actually put it on her finger and everything. It was I loved it.
You're sick.
What? So cute.
It is so cute. It is.
To be able to put a ring on her
cute.
finger.
Her little
Yeah,
fat
her
finger.
silly little fat finger.
Okay, because there's an 80% is the like number,
Oh, it is. That's even higher than I think I guessed.
but there's some research saying that's not true.
Oh,
so there's
really?
some discrepancies here on that. But 80% is the general number, and then people are sort of fighting back on that.
Okay, they're pushing back.
Sure.
They're leaning in.
Okay, so the hot book right now, there's a hot book out about psychedelics, how it can help you, and his name is Michael Pollan.
Michael Pollan. Like the kind that would give you the sniffles?
Pollan.
Pollan.
Sure, but I think you would
No, you're saying it correctly,
Okay,
but I'm just
phonetically it is spelled like Pollan. Yeah.
Pollan.
Yeah, Michael. I guess if we're going to Michael.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say just Mikey Pollan.
Michael
Okay, Mikhail Pollan.
Pollan, yeah. And it's called How to Change Your Mind, What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence. And people are liking this book. I know a few people who have picked it off the shelf.
Yeah, and I hope you don't wait till you're on your deathbed to try psilocybins to get a handle on your sense of self. I hope you do it when you...
I'll probably do it on my deathbed.
Okay.
Maybe.
And I won't be there to administer it to you.
Why?
Because you're going to die at least 20 years after me.
You don't know.
We don't know, but insurance actuary would say for sure you're going to.
I don't think so, because you have more money than me. So you'll probably get that blood, that vampire blood transfusion, so that you'll live way longer than me. I won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think that's the truth. And secondly, I will buy vampire blood if it's available. They bring it to market.
I know. Oh, we're watching a vampire movie right now.
Let the right one in.
Uh-huh.
Great Swedish movie.
We're halfway through. You've
Yeah.
already seen it. Danish.
I thought it was Danish, but then remember one of the characters said there was they found the body by Stockholm, which is Sweden.
Oh.
So then I changed my tune. I thought it was a Danish movie, but
So did Kristen.
Yeah, but it appears to be a Swedish film. It's
But do you think it's a Danish film set in Sweden?
I guess, but why would they do that? That'd be like doing a Michigan movie shot in Ohio. Just stay in Michigan. It's not like it's that different.
I guess.
I mean, no offense to anyone in Ohio or Michigan.
Okay, so he referred to Bob a couple times, and Bob is Bob Forrest.
Yeah.
Bob is his partner on Celebrity Rehab.
Coolest dude ever. He tells it like it is.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you.
Even more than me.
Whoa.
If you find me to be direct, you should tune into Bob.
Interesting.
He's a real no bullshit guy. For people who are getting sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells it like it is. And he's got a real good bullshit meter. He knows when people are full of it. I was starstruck by Bob Forrest. I saw him at this like meditation event. And I was staring at him and stuff across the room. And I introduced myself to him, and he didn't seem to give a shit.
Ooh, cool move.
Very cool move.
Okay, you said 80% of people with trauma become addicts. So I could not find that statistic, but I did find sort of the converse of that, which is 2/3 of all addicts have experienced some type of physical or sexual trauma during childhood. So it's kind of semantics, but it is different.
Well, it is different because there's way more addicts in general. You can come to addiction many ways, but if you are sexually abused, the odds of you becoming an addict are quite high. But again, just knowing that 2/3 of addicts we have,
Yeah, exactly.
66% have experienced trauma. It's a very small way to go to say that 80% of people with sexual trauma become addicts.
Well, I did read that it's likely, but I couldn't get a percentage.
I'll try to find it.
Okay.
I'll ask Laura LeBeau.
One thing we were talking about sex addiction, and you were saying, well, you were bringing up like Tiger was saying that he was a sex addict.
Oh, Tiger Woods.
I couldn't think of his last name for a second. That was scary.
Well, I went straight to the only tiger I know is the son of a friend. And I thought, I hope I wasn't talking about my friend's son on the podcast, especially under the veil of sex addiction.
Well, you do know Tony the Tiger, too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But no,
They're
Tiger
great.
Woods. Tiger Woods. You said that when all that stuff was happening, that he said he was a sex addict and that
He went to rehab for it.
Well, yeah, but you were saying that you felt that was an explanation, not an excuse. And then you said you get infuriated by people who can't make the distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then you also say that I can't make the distinction.
Well, I think sometimes our arguments are circling that misunderstanding that you're interpreting what I'm saying as offering an excuse when I'm offering an explanation.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get infuriated by me.
No. Can you recall when Tiger made that speech? Did you go, what an excuse?
I was just a baby. So no.
No, you weren't a baby.
I know. It wasn't that long ago. I don't I bet at the time I probably felt like it was an excuse.
Right.
I still might think it's an excuse. I don't think.
But really quick,
I believe in sex addiction, by the way.
Sure. And you almost can't think it's an excuse because he didn't say it's not my fault. That's an excuse when you go, oh, I'm late because I got hit by a car. It's not my fault. He never was saying it's not my fault. I'm a sex addict. He was saying, yes, I have a problem and I'm going to go to treatment. I'm a sex addict. So I think people interpreted what he said was saying it was not his fault, but that is in no way what he was saying.
Well, I think that's true. That's true. But if he's saying this happened I don't remember what he said. I wish we knew the details of how it was presented exactly because I don't think
it was
either
a
of us
long
know.
press conference. And the other thing I thought while I was watching it, did I say this with Dr. Drew Pinsky? That I was thinking of the people in France were just laughing hysterically at us like, oh my God, look at these Americans having to say apology for having sex. Who cares? Is that a good French
he
accent?
didn't he like, it was way more than just having sex. It wasn't that he cheated on her. He
had many.
Didn't he hit her?
No, there was none of that. No.
There was something with a car and do you remember, Rob?
No, his thing was
something with the golf clubs. There was some event.
Just the big news was he cheated on his wife. He was married. That was the big thing, and his wife was leaving him. And then after the first stripper came out, many more came out. But there were no gross stories about him like being aggressive or anything with them. He then subsequently got into some DUI issues later down the road. No, but his big admission is his big press conference was he was just at the height of his career, and he represented Buick and some underpants, I think, and some shoes.
MeUndies?
No. MeUndies is come on now. Don't bring MeUndies into this.
Why? I'm just
Sordid
wondering.
affair.
You said underpants.
Yeah, I think more like a Hanes or a Fruit of the Loom.
Oh, nothing that compares to MeUndies.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's all I was trying to say is come on now.
Like he would never even be
This
able
is a pedestrian
to.
panties he was trading in.
I want to find it and I can't.
Anyhow, it was just to acknowledge his public humiliation. And I think the French people were probably, Mitterrand's mistress was at his funeral standing next to his wife and everyone was fine with it.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
I do hear it.
Is it gross?
No, I bet people won't know what it is.
It's me rubbing my beard hair. Is it gross? It also sounds like someone walking through a forest. Listen.
It does.
Like stepping on leaves.
This is like a Foley exercise.
Yeah. Axel Foley. So this could be a fun game. So what I'm going to do is I'm setting a scene and you're walking through a forest and you're going to find facts. So if you could go, ooh, like you discover one. Okay. You ready?
Wait, no, I'm not ready.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Oh, the percentage of Americans who have mental illness is 1 in 5 adults in the U.S.
1 in 5 adults.
43.8 million, or 18.5%, experiences mental illness in a given year. Approximately 1 in 25 adults in the U.S., 9.8 million, experiences a serious mental illness in a given year that substantially interferes with or limits one or more major life activities.
Yeah, that's crazy high. 1 in 5. If 1 in 5 people had heart disease, it's all we'd talk about.
Yeah. Well, we are talking about it more, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. And then you also said I had a spell where I thought I had anxiety, and I did have it.
No, you did. I didn't mean to say it that way.
Oh, okay.
I guess what I meant is that you don't seem to have a permanent anxiety condition that requires medicine today or anything.
I don't
But that
require
you
medicine,
had a
but
pretty bad period of anxiety.
yeah, it's not gone.
Right. No.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were really nervous when we were at the movies this weekend that there was a shooter.
I was. I did get it in my head. Oh, a shooter. Oh, look. Is that what I think it is? A shooter? I did think that, but I actually weirdly, I mean, I guess that was part of my anxiety, but my anxiety presented itself in a very physical way.
Okay, so yeah, I recall very much that you thought you had a couple different illnesses.
Tumors.
Yeah, and you were going to the doctor kind of frequently.
Yeah, but it was just anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did, but I was saying it. I didn't have like a panic attack because I thought.
So there's like a perfect example. Like that's not an excuse. That's an explanation of what was going on.
An excuse.
Yeah, like
what would I be excusing?
that you had gone to the doctor so many times with these hypochondriac kind of hypochondriac things.
Yeah.
And you'd go, you wouldn't be saying like, oh, it doesn't matter that I did it or it's not my fault. You go, oh, I have anxiety and that's how it manifested itself. And
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the same.
I think it's the same.
I don't know if it's the same.
I'm trying.
That's it.
Well, hold on. Is you sure you want to? How about this? Now you're
me see
walking
if
and
there's
you
more.
realize there's just no more facts. You like you clear the forest.
Okay. Oh, look. We're on the other side. Oh.
No more facts?
No more facts. Should I go back in for some more facts? Did we get enough?
Depends. Do you think there's more in the forest?
I think there might be more.
Okay.
No, I think we're good. I think we got enough.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Now you're like, now someone just said, like, you could hear them from outside the forest. They go, Monica, do you want ice cream? Okay. So, Monica, do you want some ice cream?
Yes. Wait for
That's
me.
you
I want
run-
ice cream.
As you run into the forest.
What a cool
What an
thing we
auditory
just did.
What's that thing they do on YouTube where people they like get hot?
ASMR or something.
ASMR.
No, I don't think that's right.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
And we saw a little thing on it, and the people get kind of like high off of it, and it treats people's anxiety. Speaking of anxiety,
Yes, it does.
this whole thing now seems set up just to bring up other cool tools in treating anxiety.
That's true.
ASMRI. ASMR.
See, the reason I never think that's right when I say it is because there's a riddle
Okay.
with letters spelled out. And we did this the other day. You read the letters and it says something.
Yeah.
One of the letters is OSAR. You're saying, oh, yes, they. I don't want to give it away, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yes, they are.
yeah.
Oh, yes, they are. I got that riddle, remember?
Did you get it all the way?
Yeah.
You did?
Or like,
Most
I got
of it.
80% of it, enough that people realized what the riddle was. And then we
Right.
all maybe did the last sentence together.
It's a good riddle.
Sean
Maybe I'll
and
post it.
Leandra, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
Again,
one.
congratulations.
Congratulations, Sean and Leandra.
And your baby.
Ooh, you baby.
You have a little baby. All right, great. Well, I love you and I love Dr. Drew. I hope you enjoyed him, Monica.
I did, yeah.
Fun guy. Oh, really cute, fun, sad thing about Dr. Drew is he heard we were going to have Sam Harris on, and he came the morning Sam was coming, and he was like at the very end of his like possible time window to get to work, and he was here and he's panicking because he really had to go to work,
And you really wanted to see him.
And then he finally had to pull the plug, and then honestly their cars passed. Like Sam turned in the second after Drew turned
We'll
away.
set up a rendezvous for them.
A little liaison, France style.
Oh. Bye.